What is up, everybody, and welcome to a live edition of Racing Dudes. We're covering the Malibu Stakes today. Boy, we got a less crowded room than the last time you saw us when it was a fantasy draft and 100 dickheads were around at a time. Here we just got 3 so far. Listen, I think it's, our West Coast correspondent is Magic. So I think we're going to kick it to Magic for your thoughts so far on the card today. Magic, what have you thought?
It's been great. So we got 4 minutes to post here to the San Antonio Stakes, which if you listen to the Magic Mike show, we covered the late pick 5. I said single mucho gusto. Aaron thought the same thing for the guide. It's been a great day so far. I think that the track seems to be playing pretty fair for Santa Anita. That was one of my big concerns, is that the morning works especially. I was hearing a lot of reports that it was very deep, very slow, very tiring. And it seems like it's a little bit tighter today. So that's a good sign. We were able to see horses win from a little bit from off the pace. You still can't close from the clouds on the dirt, but I can't tell you the last time I remember that happening at Santa Anita. Probably the first time I ever went to the racetrack, which was the 2016 Malibu, when Mind Your Biscuits won. So since then, it's been pretty hard to close from the clouds. So, but I think especially when we get to races like the Brea, like the Malibu, where it's shaping up to be a speed duel, it's I think it's going to be playing pretty fair to those horses coming from off the pace. And then we got to see the Turf Shoot debut just last race 6. There's a brand new Turf Shoot that they built in-house at Santa Anita over the fall, and so they can run 6.5 furlong turf sprints that way. We got to see that debut, so that seemed to go well. We already have a track record for that one, so we got to see a track record today.
Before I kick it to Ricky, real quick, Magic. So the Malibu Stakes at Mind Your Biscuits won. That was your first time ever at a racetrack. Is that correct? That
is correct. Yeah, I went there with my buddy. Santa Anita sent me a pass in the mail. They're like, hey, you can go for free and go. There used to be a bar above the clubhouse turn. They've completely changed it now. But I used to sit there and, got to have some free drinks from the bartender because we were the only ones there.
Yeah, I've drank at that bar as well. I know exactly what you're talking about. Not there anymore, also, like you said. So listen, you're on 8 Mucho Gusto. I am on 8 Mucho Gusto. We've got 2 minutes to post. I think everybody kind of knew that Magic and I like that horse. Ricky, I'll kick it to you. 2 minutes to post the San Antonio Stakes. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm on Mucho Gusto, too. I think, I'm not going to dive into kind of the last time he ran and things like that, but I think the big scratches, we could all agree, with Sharp Samurai. And I think a lot of people started going in other directions for horses underneath. But as Magic kind of alluded to on his show, and you just said Mucho Gusto, the biggest concern is really what I would call off-the-track things, right? The layoff, how's he going to run in terms of the return from overseas, Saudi Arabia. So I don't think it's a talent thing. I think, like I said earlier, that Sharp Samurai, was the horse that people kind of looked to. And now we're kind of all scrounging. I put Extra Hope in second, but I don't really love Extra Hope. I think Mucho Gusto at 3 to 5 isn't the worst price. I was excited for the 8-horse field, to be honest with you, and then 2 scratches come out with Combatant as well, and it's like, all right, we're down to 6. But I think 3 to 5 is kind of what you'd expect to see. If you can get 4 to 5, then try to hammer it home. But I think 3 to 5 is probably where you're going to sit when this thing kicks off.
Yeah, and it's probably fair odds, with the 2 scratches. I was thinking even money, and then, like I said, I think Sharp Samurai would have taken a lot of cash here, and, maybe not a lot, but enough to make Mucho Gusto even money instead of below. I think it's fair odds. 3 to 5 is about what I expected. The big thing and the big argument is just that, hey, he's not going to be 100%. This is just a prep. Baffert really doesn't run horses in a race as a prep and finish like second or third. Usually when they come back off of a layoff, they're ready to run. And even at 85%, and Magic, I'll kick it to you, see if you agree with this. Let's say Mucho Gusto is 85%. Does he win this race? I say yes.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that was kind of my argument for singling him in this on the Magic Mike show, and that was before the scratches. I was like, look, if you believe that Baffert can get a horse ready to fire first off of a long layoff, which you just said he doesn't run them into shape, if you believe that he can return this horse back to that same level, there's no one in this race that could touch him before the scratches. I think if you were trying to get cute and maybe beat him, see if he is not ready, the 7 was probably going to be your play. Idle, he's 7-2 because we lost Sharp Samurai, we lost Combatant in the scratches. So I don't think there's any value there. And I know that's what Mike Stomich was seeing was value. 5-1, 7-2. If you're not going to play Mucho Gusto, I would just take a break on this race, honestly.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah, a good advice. Because if you don't want to swallow 3-5, I don't really blame you. But at the same time, I can't sit here and really endorse another horse because, like I said, Idle is 7-2. I mean, that's not value. I'd want about 8-1. What about Midcourt? He's 5-1. I mean, Midcourt, I think Ricky was 12 the last time Midcourt won a race. I mean, right, Ricky?
Well, yeah, I just turned 13, so I don't know how far back we're going. But you're right. I mean, you look at his recent PPs. There are no wins on there. I think to Magic's point, this is the type of race where you'd probably look for a new shooter. So Idle would probably be the one. We don't have some of the older horses that we normally would have seen in this spot, obviously running elsewhere. So it kind of seems like Mucho Gusto is kind of unopposed, more or less. So it really comes down to how well does he run, because at 85%, like we talked about 80%, even I would go down to 75%. He really should win. And why, if you're Baffert, why would you bring him off after this long and push him here? You've waited this long. If he's not ready, you might as well wait. So,
and no more waiting. We're off. Well, just about off. Sorry, the three. We were off, and then the 3 hopped a little bit, so they held. I jumped the gun on that one a little bit.
Jumped the gun big time. Boy,
God,
we still had thoughts, man, and we're still waiting for it to go off.
There they go. There they go.
Yeah. We don't have Saratoga Slim here to call the race, so I'll just kind of describe what's happening. I am not going to attempt to call a race. Take the 101 out in front. Mucho Gusto stalking right there in second. Maybe a half length off, but no further. And now as they make, go ahead, Magic.
Well, I was just surprised Extra Hope is sitting off in third. They're the 3 and the 1. Take the 101s on the lead. They're owned by the same person, but different trainers. So I was curious to see what their tactics were going to be. Extra Hope won the Native Dancer going gate to wire. So he's sitting in third now. 23 and 4, pretty sensible, right, Aaron?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you choke down 1-2 on Mucho Gusto, you're happy. I mean, he's getting the trip you want. Take the 101, starting to get away from him a little bit here, and Idle is making a huge move. Idle passed Mucho Gusto.
I don't love the fact that space opened up for Idle. If you're 1-2 on Mucho Gusto, it seems to be picking it up.
Yeah, he's picking it up again.
There he goes. Yeah.
Boy, for a second, that got a little scary.
I think, smart move from Gabe Saez to challenge and push him. He knew that was his one shot right there, and it didn't quite work out for him. Yeah, he's a 7 through in the anchor now.
Yeah, Idle's thrown in the anchor a little bit here. It just, 7 is re-rallying a bit up the rail, but I don't think he's got enough. Mucho Gusto, he is laboring. The 2 coming up right now, Kiss Him Goodbye. The 7.
Whoa, the 7 squid. This is not good. Whoa, we got an upset. Got an upset.
With Kiss Today Goodbye is going to win this race.
Wow.
15-1 shot. I had this horse in third. Wow. Did not use him on top.
That was something.
So Mucho Gusto just hit a wall.
Mucho Gusto 4th. Wow.
So,
wow.
The question is, where do you begin, right? So, it's never ideal when a horse gives up that 2 path. So, I looked at Magic's tweet earlier in the day, and he was talking about smooth, like straight with Umberto Rispoli. He picked the right path. He was out there early. That's the way to ride. You want to be there early, new track, all those types of things. Idle took that spot. The 2 path, that's not a good sign. Now, I'm not here to say that, Mucho Gusto wasn't going to win from that point, but if you take a look at that spot, that's not encouraging when he's willing to give up the 2-path, yet even going further wide. Now, who's to say that may or may not have been the difference? But if we take a look, and we're going to watch, after the fact, how much extra distance he had to run, I want to throw it to you guys. Do you think that could have made a difference by just moving out 1 or 2 paths?
It probably should have, based on his talent level versus the rest of this field, but I guess it could have made a bit of a difference with what we just saw out of midcourt. Or out of Mucho Gusto, because that was just a doggish effort, basically. It's about the only way you can put it. So I think he's going to win even if he doesn't give up that path? No, probably not. I don't think it made that much of a difference. The only thing I would say about like I'm not upset with the ride at all, because we turned for home. I thought, well, he's going to win by like 5. So I think he rode him like the best horse. He looked like the best horse, and boy, when he needed him to kick on, he just didn't kick on, guys, at all. Idle, I thought was done. You called him done too, Magic. He looked done.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he gets up on the rail. And that's the biggest sign to me that the 1 and the 8 were just running in place, because Idle passed them after getting blown out pretty much on the turn, and then Kiss Today Goodbye. Like I said, I had the horse in third, but he wasn't. I didn't take him as a serious win contender, and for him to look like he's just flying home, we had some horses that just stopped in this race.
Yeah, they definitely look like they stopped. And what's interesting is this was supposed to be the stop for Mucho Gusto to prep for the Saudi Cup. They actually announced recently that he was going to skip the Pegasus World Cup anyway and just go straight to the Saudi Cup. He was purchased, I think, before the Pegasus by Saudi Arabian interests. So they, of course, want to bring him there. I don't know that they're too excited about him coming out there after that race. Oof.
Yeah, let's get to that, Ricky. Where do you think Mucho Gusto goes after this?
Well, there's two thought process. I'm thinking 2 things. One, he's not the same runner that he was at this time last year as he was getting to begin his 2020 campaign, and that's fine. I think horses, whatever, mature differently. Or it's like I maybe brought up, maybe the fact that, I don't know, maybe something with Saudi Arabia really took something out of him, because this is still a long layoff. We don't care who the trainer is. We don't care who the horse is. When you're not running in, 10 months, 9 months, excuse my math for a minute, but at the same time, there might have been something wrong, because we didn't see him again. This isn't the toughest field of all time, especially for, like you pointed out, Aaron, his talent should have won alone, even at 75-80%. So I'm not really sure, based on this effort, he might need some more time off, because can you go overseas with him running like this? He's going to get blown out.
Yeah, I couldn't send him over there and be confident about him at all. I guess one thing I'll point out, that race reminded me a lot of the Oklahoma Derby way back in September of 2019, where he was in position coming around the turn. He thought he was going to win, and he just kind of ran in place, got 4th, same as today, and then was off 118 days, and then won the Pegasus World Cup in his next start. You think about, okay, do you want to take him over to Saudi? It's not 118 days, but it is going to be a little bit of a lengthy break. I wouldn't do it. That's an awful long way to go to get your balls beat in, and that's what's going to happen to him if he goes over there with this kind of. I wouldn't want him in the Pegasus, let alone at the Saudi Cup where it's going to be tougher. That was really disappointing to me. And the thing is, if he runs hard and he lengthens a couple of links from the rest of the field, and then somebody comes up and nabs him, that's one thing. But he just didn't look very good. And Magic, we talked about it before the race. He had a long string of workouts, right?
He had a long string of really endurance building workouts. Is it kind of a classic Bob Baffert move, is to put a lot of 6 furlong works into the horses for his long term or for his long distance runners. So he'd been doing 6 furlongs, 5 furlongs really well. And again, with the times that he was posting over this slow, tiring Santa Anita track leading up to it was telling you that he was probably going to be here. But man, I don't know. I feel like if there was any excuse, my response is good horses would have found a way to beat that group. That is not the hardest grade 2 that you're going to see. And so Boof. I think Baffert still sends him mostly because of the ownership, but I'm not going to be too excited about it. That's for sure.
Just real quick, this was Kiss Today Goodbye, his first graded stakes victory, his first stakes victory, period, and just his third victory overall, now in 11 starts. His first victory came at Santa Anita, going a mile in a maiden special weight, and then last time out, he won an allowance at Del Mar. And now he's a grade 2 winner. And he beat the Pegasus 2020 Pegasus World Cup winner. So kind of shows you maybe more of how far Mucho Gusto has fallen. And yeah, I'm not confident with him. Go ahead, Ricky.
I do have a quick point. I didn't mean to interrupt. Does it mean anything to you guys that Mike Smith got the call? I didn't really look into it. To be honest, I saw that this horse didn't really have a chance in my book. I'll be the first to admit it. Does that mean anything to you guys as you kind of recap as we're talking it over, or as you take some time to think about it later, moving forward? Did that mean anything to you? I don't have the numbers together to pair them up as a jockey trainer combo, and maybe someone could fill me in, but does that mean anything to you as we kind of talk about it now?
I kind of assumed it. And Magic, you know more about California and the connections and where these guys go, but I kind of assumed it as well. Victor had been riding this horse, and he's gone mid-court, and Victor's always on mid-court. I don't know why, but he always is on mid-court. And so Mike Smith just got this mount on it because who else was he going to ride? But Magic, do you have any insight to that at all?
No, I was thinking about this earlier today randomly, that when Reese Bully first started riding out here, he would be on Eric Crueljack horses every so often, and it was almost an automatic play for me because when the two of them would team up, it was pretty magical. And then he switched agents, and he hasn't really been riding for Crueljack much at all lately. I think that Mike Smith, I think they needed a jockey. Mike Smith probably saw this horse working out, thought I'll give him a shot, but he's never been on the horse before. He's 0 for 8 with Crueljack coming into this. You could say, well, maybe he would have gone with Baffert, but Baffert likes to put Velasquez on his horses, especially his big horses. You saw what the two of them did together with Gamine. So, he's going to be pretty loyal to Johnny V when he comes in and give him a mount like Mucho Gusto. So I wouldn't have looked at handicap this and gone, ooh, Mike Smith is picking up the mount, and thought that's a huge move. Obviously, he's a big upgrade from who'd been riding before, but I don't think it's that big of a deal that I would have said, well, now he's a play because of Mike.
Well, I'll give our buddy Paul credit. He texted me last night. He said, I think Mike Smith's sneaky tomorrow. I've used him on a lot of different I've used him in a lot of different races in the late pick 5. I don't know if he did that one. I think he did, actually. So he's off to a good start in the late pick 5. None of us are, but you know what that means when you're out in the first leg of the pick 5? You come back with a pick 4. Exactly. So listen, on these West Coast preview or live shows, not preview, but live shows, we have done something that's usually me and you and Summich, but we've got Ricky here today, and we'll take it, right? We're going to do a live draft pick 4 here for the Racing News live show. Ricky, I don't know. I think you may have seen this before. Each person drafts a horse in each race. We go 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 group pick 4 ticket. It was very popular the last couple of times we've done it. We've got the right amount of people to do it. Are you guys up for it?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start off, and don't worry, we will break down the Brea Stakes in full detail after this draft. So, okay. Race 8 is a Brea. Magic, since you are the host here of Southern California Racing, you're going to get the first pick. And then we'll go Magic, Ricky, and me here at the Brea.
Well, I know who your top pick was in the guide, Aaron, so that's going to make this easier for me to choose. I'm going to use the two underneath. It's Bob Baffert, it's John Velasquez. This was my only absolute must-use when we did covered the pick 5 in the Magic Mike show. So third start of the form cycle. She can stalk and pounce, and coming into the San Antonio, Velasquez and Baffert were 8 for their last 18 together. So put me down for the two underneath. 2. Okay. Ricky.
Oh, I thought I would be last. Okay, I'll go with Secret Keeper. I actually put Secret Keeper on top. I didn't know who said yes. I'm going to use Secret Keeper, and the reason is I think ultimately wants this distance. I don't want to go by what she did in the Raven Run. To be honest, she stumbled at the break, was never really involved, and did lose to Finite. This is a spot where I kind of want her back, and I think people are going to look at that race with Finite and say, okay, I'm going to throw Secret Keeper out. She already won. But this is a horse I'm saying I'm willing to draw a line through, and I'll take her back here.
All right, Secret Keeper, and I'm going to go Finite for my choice. Listen, I think the pace really is going to set up extremely well for Finite. I mean, this is a horse that can come from off of it. Magic, you said, kind of open up the show, you can't come from way out of the clouds. Well, that's okay for Finite because she's not going to come from way out of it. She's going to be in a nice stalking mid-pack type position and should be able to make a big run on what should be a hot pace. So Finite for me. So 2, 4, 5 in the first leg. Right off the bat, I look and say, guys, I'm really worried about the 3. Hamiko for Bob Baffert. So we might round back to that one before we finalize this thing. So all right, the 9th race is the American Oaks. Ricky, I'm going to kick it to you. It's your pick.
I went with Sharing. I don't know how much I'm really going to be knocking down doors with Sharing, but she just simply outclasses this field. If you take that race out of the matriarch, she's been pretty dominant in all of her races. That was the only race in memories that she hasn't finished in the money. I think this is a big bounce back spot. I do love the fact Johnny Velasquez is going to get a board for Graham Motion. If you're not aware of that on the East Coast, it doesn't happen often. Like we talked about earlier, Johnny Velasquez usually rides for others. Graham Motion's out here now with Sharing. Johnny Velasquez will hop aboard. I think that's a really good combination to look forward to.
Yeah, Sharing would have been my pick as well. I'm going to go just one to her inside with the number 8, Duopoly. If you read the guide or if, I don't know if we kind of broke this down or not on one of the shows. I think maybe Magic did. But this looks like a horse with lone speed. And then, Magic, you were telling me early in the week, hey, Flavian Pratt's going to ride one for Chad Brown. We don't know which one yet because he's going to send 2. So Flavian gets Duopoly. I think a major pace advantage here. No question this horse can get the distance. So the 8 for me, and then we'll kick to Magic.
Well, I would be remiss if the first time we ever did one of these live drafts was during the Pacific Classic, and a big reason we were able to cash that day is because my co-host, Mike Samich, loved Red Lark and the Del Mar Oaks, and I'll be damned if we're going to let Red Lark knock us out this time. I'm going to go against the other Chad Brown horse, which is going to hurt me a little bit, but I'm using the 1 Red Lark.
Well, the thing about it is we do get value if Red Lark wins, and that's the big thing. And you don't play these and then play the 3 favorites in every race and make money. So I like the pick, actually. We'll kick it to the Malibu, and I've got the first pick in this one. I promise I didn't do that on purpose, but I went with Nashville on top. I just think he's a special horse. I think he's a really special horse. I am, unlike Magic, I'm very terrified of Charlatan just because Bob Baffert likes to juice his horses, and Santa Anita is his home track. So I think it's just a major scare that Charlatan's in this race here. But I have to go with Nashville. So Nashville for me, and go ahead, Magic.
Yeah, I'm going to make Ricky have to choose whether or not we're using Charlatan. I'm going to draft Independence Hall here. I think he's going to be able to sit a really great trip. Joel Rosario is the kind of jockey that fits this horse's running style really well, especially going 1 turn. I think we've seen that this is when he is at his best. And I think with the speed Nashville Charlatan are going to show, this is going to be the horse that's going to be right behind them. He's got pretty good early, late speed. It doesn't show necessarily in his form, but he can sit as long as he breaks cleanly and stay close. And then if the pace falls apart, he can have that move like we saw with Kiss Today Goodbye. So give me the 6.
So, yeah, so this was really tough, right? Because when I was drawing up my own pick 4, I was willing to almost throw out Charlatan because I just love Tough Luck Bob so much. So I thought to myself, okay, let's see if this thing really melts down. And I firmly believe that it will. So I'm going to go away from Charlatan. We're not here to hit short prices, short tickets. So I'm going to go to the inside with Collusion Illusion. I mean, this horse didn't belong in the sprint against Whitmore and CZ Rocket. It just didn't belong there. He does have 2 wins here at the track, which is important. And he's 3 for 5. He hasn't been in the best of form. But at the same time, I think this is value that it's another horse that's going to come off the pace. Look, if you like Nashville and Charlatan, I think you kind of have to choose. If you want to hit that ticket with a price, I think you have to go away from one of them. So I'm going to go away from Charlatan. I'll stick with Nashville, Aaron, like you said, and try to hope it melts down. And let's see if Collusion Illusion gets home.
I think it's a terrible pick, but I have an idea of how we're going to hedge with it with another ticket. I've got it all in my head. Well, I'll wait till the last race or till after we're all done and tell you the hedge ticket. Collusion illusion. Well, listen, Kiss Today Goodbye just won, so who knows what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, it could happen, I guess. Magic, you're first on this last one, correct?
Yeah, and as a new owner of Collusion Illusion, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting race. This last one, I'm gonna put the 8 counterparty risk on top. This is a horse that Chad Brown nominated to the American Oaks with the other 2 that are in there. They're all owned by Clarovich Stables, which is very noteworthy. And also noteworthy, there's a $75,000 turf stakes race for 3-year-old fillies that was at Gulfstream Park today. This horse has been training in Florida. If Chad Brown just wanted to win a $75,000 ungraded stakes restricted to 3-year-old fillies, he would have kept her ass in Florida and not sent her to California here. So I think that is a huge sign, plus Rosario picking it up. Give me the 8.
Yeah, good pick. All right, Ricky.
I'm up. I'm going to go with Nasty. So Nasty doesn't have the look of a horse that really should be involved. Lost to Warren Showtime last time out, and I have a feeling that's where someone else might go. But I think Ricky Gonzalez picking up the mount is big. If anyone paid attention to what he was doing at Los Al, he's really gotten some momentum. And he was aboard when he would finish 3rd just a couple starts back here at Santa Anita. So that's a price. I want to put that horse on top in this multi-race ticket. I definitely want to have Nasty.
No, I think Magic and I both strongly agree with that pick. So, yeah, I'm with you. And I think that horse could take that field wire to wire, and I don't think anybody on this show is going to be surprised. And you're right. I went Warren Showtime, the 9 horse. I just think this horse is so damn classy. And honestly, the more I looked at this, I'm like, you know what? I think it's Brown with the 8 or Warren Showtime, the 9. This horse just shows up every time. You're going to have to come beat her. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to run a really good race. She's going to make you run a really good race to beat her. So Warren Showtime for me, full ticket. All right. So this is our 3x3 by 3x3. Did I do that 4 times or 5 times? Not sure. So 2, 4, 5 in the Brea with 1, 8, and 9, with 1, 3, and 6, and with 7, 8, and 9. That is the ticket, $40.50.
That's what it is.
Is what that? Yeah, you were doing it in the math. Yeah, $40.50 there. 3x3 by 3x3. Thank you, Magic, for putting that up, so you can see it. It's scrolling down across the screen if you want to play along with that ticket. Let's address the situation at hand. I liked the 3 in the Brea that we left off. I liked the 3 in the American Oaks that we left off. Obviously, Charlatan in the Malibu, and then really not anybody standoutish, right, in the Lady Shamrock. I think we've got that covered. The more I've thought about that race over the coming day or in the past days, I've thought, yeah, I think that's about right. The 3 we used. So how do we do a little hedge ticket? To me, I think we single the 3 in the Brea on the hedge ticket. And I also think we single the 3 capital structure in the American Oaks. And then let's just go 3, 4, 6 in the Malibu, and then 3 horses we used in the Lady Shamrock for a little $9 ticket there. Or no, that would be
$4.50, right?
Let's see. Can't do that in my head. Yeah, $4.50. Yes. Just a little $4.50 hedge ticket in case we get that home. Anybody have any problems with that before I put that in?
No, I'm good with that.
I think that for people watching, that's a ticket that if you have gotten crushed today, then keep it at $4.50. But that might be a ticket where you might want to play it for $5 or something like that if you want to try to get some value. If you said these guys are goons, they don't know what they're talking about, they're leaving this horse off, that's a ticket where you might want to multiply it. I know Mike Somich and Magic, they talk about it the same way. You got to find, if you have that value, that single, multiply it out and see if you can make some money that way as well. So think about that as well.
Yeah. I just don't want to, the thing about it is with this ticket and why I think it's pretty decent. If you made it even better, put the 9 in the American Oaks. So play sharing and capital structure and make it for $9. Because the thing about it is when you're playing 3 horses in this Brea and you leave off a Baffert and the Baffert wins, you still want to be alive to something. And you could be alive to a very similar ticket by playing this. So I'm going to do that, guys. I'm going to put in the 9 in that second leg, sharing, make it a $9 ticket. So we're investing $49.50 in a pick 4. If either ticket hits, it's going to pay much more than that. So that's it. That's our tickets, $49.50 for our combined 2 tickets there. Guys, let's turn our attention just to this race now and kind of talk about this from a single race perspective, betting-wise at least. I thought this was the hardest race on the card. Ricky, I'll kick it to you first. What do you think about the Brea?
Yeah, let's talk about, before I get into, I kind of talked about Secret Keeper, but I want to talk about real quick 2 horses we didn't even use. Obviously, Stellar Sound is out. We thought that was a horse that probably made a lot of sense. And how about the other Chad Brown Motivated Seller, another horse we didn't even talk about. So I think this is the most wide open race in terms of how we're kind of structuring this pick 4 ticket. And I'll throw it to you guys. These are the races that are really, really challenging for a few reasons. One, of the 7 furlong distance, it's a elongated sprint, and I think that makes things really, really difficult. You don't see a lot of races at this distance. And I also think it's really interesting to see how these horses kind of play their way out in terms of how they kind of set themselves up in the backstretch, because more times than not, when it's 6 furlongs, that turn around the far turn comes around quick. At 7 furlongs, you really have a chance to kind of settle yourself through. So I really looked at this race as wide open, Aaron, like you kind of talked about. Hamiko was the horse that we obviously didn't use when we played the original ticket. She's been on absolute tear for Baffert, obviously picking up Flavian Pratt here. This is just a big step up in competition. That's why I didn't really use her when I had my choice. I used Secret Keeper, but again, this is wide open. We could have gone in a lot of different directions. This is probably the race where you want the most coverage.
Yeah, Magic, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I tried multiple times to, when we first did the show, when I reworked it after scratch, just to go all in this leg. I could have easily gone 7, 8 deep, and when you're talking about a 10-horse field at that point, you should just spend the extra money to hit the all button. But Himiko's a horse that worries me. I'm also worried about the 10, Golden Principle. Now she's all the way on the outside. She doesn't have to worry about nutty-ass Stellar Sound. She's cutting back from a 2-turn mile at Del Mar that she won pretty well, 3.5 lengths, got a career best 86 buyer. Mike Smith is keeping the mount for her. I think that the cutback is going to be great for her because she's going to be fitter than a lot of these horses that she's facing are. We had the Chad Brown horse. We have questions. Could she handle the distance? You don't know Himiko. You know, the one time she did it, she faded in the stretch to be second. So I think Golden Principle is the one that worries me the most out of all of these, just because that cutback from that mile over this tiring track, I think it's gonna give her something definitely better than 16-1. Jesus, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem right now. I picked Finite on top. I never dreamed 8-5. I really didn't. It's just a shocking price for me. I know 7-2 may have been a pipe dream, but I was thinking 5-2, 3-1. 8-5 is tough, especially in a field this large. But this is a horse that I think the 7 furlongs fits her almost perfectly, right? She's not a sprinter, but she's definitely not like a mile and an eighth type. I think this is going to hit her, right between the eyes as being perfect. So Finite, for me was the top choice because of that. Ricky, you never said who was your top choice in this one.
Oh, sorry. I took Secret Keeper when we did the and more so. I think she obviously ran well when she debuted here. Obviously, she was much better than that field as we kind of progress forward. I just think it's going to be tough if you look at that Raven run. It was a really, really, really bad stumble. And I think the fact that, Finite finished second out of that race, a lot of people are going to say, well, she's not good enough. I don't think you can judge her off of that. I think 8-1 is a great price on a horse that, she's going to come back. I think this is a price that people kind of threw her out on, and I want to see how she does again. This is going to tell a lot if she belongs at this level, if she's outclassed, or is that last race after the stumble, did she just give up? So I think we're going to find out a lot about her.
Magic, did you put Secret Keeper on top as well? I know you're really high on her.
Yes, yeah, she would definitely made the ticket. I think she was probably the second one in after. Well, I know Finite, and then it would have been Merneath Finite and Secret Keeper for me. But this is a horse that I loved last year, earlier in the year. Cedillo's ridden her very well. You can see that on the form. The fact that she was second to Harvest Moon going 2 turns, which probably isn't her best game, and then went to the Raven run. That was also her first time shipping. She was not handling it very well. She was acting up, trying to get in the gate. It took forever to get her into the gate, and as soon as the gate sprung open, Ricky told you what happened. She went straight to her face. So if you scratch all that out, Seiss gave her time off to kind of recover, get back to it. I learned over the summer the hard way, he's really good at getting horses prepped at San Luis Rey Training Center, bringing them to Santa Anita for one work on the track to get used to their surroundings, and then they fire really well. So he did that with Secret Keeper, but in the summer before her debut, and then before she went to Del Mar. I think, and I'm really happy that this is the one that Ricky picked, because I think she's really sneaky here.
Yeah, you definitely did a fist pump in the air there when that happened. So, and I was going, "Oh my God, we're not playing the 3? Are you kidding me?"
Well, talk about her. You've kind of danced around her, but why is it that you're so scared of her here?
Well, I think right off the bat, the first thing that jumped out on me is, as far as time form speed figures go, this horse looks better than anybody. So that was a really good start. I mean, better than anybody in the fact that maybe it's 1 or 2 points, but she is better than the rest of these by just a tiny bit. 2 wins in a row, that's never a bad thing. It kind of seems like she's just figured it out, right? 2 races back, 7-5 favorite in that maiden, but she had been beaten as the favorite the race before too, and came out and won and looked really good. And then last time just blew the doors off an allowance field at Del Mar and going 6.5 furlongs, just a smidge shorter than what she'll go today. I don't know. I liked her better than the 2 Merneith. To me, I think we kind of know what Merneith is, where I think Himiko could be just this up-and-coming horse. If Merneith wins this race, and this is not a knock on your pick, Magic, your top pick, because I have Merneith in everything. But if she wins, I think a couple have disappointed in here. I just don't think she's quite as good as a couple of these horses could be in here. And that, to Ricky's point, you talked about motivated seller, and absolutely Chad Brown coming in certainly could win, but couldn't finish the deal last time out against Merneith. And I don't know. I guess you could say the same thing for Merneith, that she's kind of figured it out all of a sudden. She's won 2 in a row. But she has just burned me a lot. I thought this horse was going to be really, really good when she debuted. We heard a lot of good things. I know you had mentioned on the Magic Mike show, Magic, that, hey, we heard this was his Oaks horse. Far from it, right? But listen, we'll see what happens. But I don't love her, and I do like the 3 a little bit better. Listen, we got 1 minute to post here, guys. We've got our pick 4s in. Ricky, any kind of final thoughts as we approach the gate?
Not really. I think the biggest issue with me on Himiko, and I did use her, is 7 furlong a touch too long. And that's really why I went with Secret Keeper. We know Secret Keeper can go this distance based on the race at, the Torrey Pines Grade 3. That was really the difference, and that's why I want to throw it to you real quick. Do you think this will be a little bit too long for her? She's done well, obviously, here at Santa Anita and seems to be trending upward in a nice way. Does the distance at all concern you based on her 1 race at this distance a few times back?
Not really. I kind of think she's just been a better horse since that 7 furlong race. So, no, I'm not overly concerned about it. I think she'll get it. I think the biggest key for her is not getting involved early in a pace duel. And the one thing I would say that is advantage for Merneith over Himiko, the 3, is she can come from off the pace. We saw it last time out. Merneith had been a speed horse, and then all of a sudden they took her off the pace a bit, and she was able to close. I remember we were there. We were at Keeneland that day. That was Breeders' Cup Saturday. I remember thinking, boy, Merneith, maybe she's just lost it. Like, she's just out there goofing around. She was way back and then won. So, Magic, final thoughts for you as they approach the gate.
Wow, there's a lot of prices here, and this is what, again, goes back to this is why I thought this was an all, because Finite is being, I get why she's the favorite, but I think she's being overbet, and I think, man, seeing that 10 flow all the way up to 18-1, I almost put an across the board bet on her just because I think that cutting back from the mile, I think she definitely hits the board. So if you got time to put an exotics bet, put her underneath.
Yeah, so you're really up high on the 10. Gosh, I can't place Finite at 7-5 here, guys. I just
No.
can't do it. I am going to play. I think I'm just going to play a 2, 3, 4, 5 trifecta box as far as a single race bet.
I can't wait to see the 6 break because Biddy Duke is one of the fastest little horses in the West Coast, and if she's on turf, she's 21-3. But let's see what she does here on dirt.
All right, they are almost in the gate. Looks like we got 1 or 2 more left to load. This is really going to be a fun race, guys. This is going to come at us fast and furious, trying to describe the action here.
Yeah,
everybody seems to be behaving from what I see.
Finite's got a beautiful blaze. Whether or not she wins, that big, beautiful white blaze on her face. Whew.
Yeah, we're going to be able to spot her. They're off. Good start for everybody. Really, nobody missed the break or anything like that. Let's see. Let's just see what materializes here. Finite is second last right now, but she's not out of range. They're all pretty tightly grouped together. And Biddy Duke, great call for you, Magic, up on the lead right now. There she goes.
I mean, I don't play her past 5.5 when she's on turf, so we'll see what 7 on dirt does.
So they went 21.88 for the opening quarter here, going 7 furlongs. That is smoking. Now, the bad news, if you played Finite, she's dead last. But again, she's not out of the realm here. Like she's still in somewhat of a position, but she's gonna have to start making a move pretty quick, no doubt. Well,
Golden Principle sitting nice.
44.59 for Biddy Duke. Finite's starting to kind of wind up on the outside. There's really nobody making a big move.
Look at the 10. Yeah. Look at the 10.
Here comes the 10.
God damn it.
10's in a good spot. 10 has put her nose ahead. Here comes Fair Maiden. This is Mike Somich's horse. Fair Maiden's 21.
Yep. She got it.
Fair Maiden.
Wow.
Not even out of second gear. Fair Maiden has won by what looks to be about 3 lengths. That's an excellent call by Somich.
Yeah. You know what's frustrating to me is I was so high on her when she went to the Natalma at Woodbine last year. I was so high on her. And she broke my heart that day, and I haven't played her back since then because I thought that she didn't have any excuse for losing that. So,
you know what's frustrating to me? I cannot get anything right at Santa Anita today through 8 races. That is what's frustrating to me. Even if I play Fair Maiden in that spot, I don't have the second or third horse. I don't believe either. So, pace definitely materialized there. Ricky, what's your thoughts?
I think the only thing I'll take away is we need to start paying attention to Ricky Gonzalez now. If you haven't been watching Los Al, and a lot of people don't in that early part of December, obviously we do. I know Magic pays attention more than I certainly do being on the West Coast. He was good, and he's going to start to get mounts now. And I'm not saying this is anything to look forward to, but don't just look at Ricardo Gonzalez anymore and say we could throw him out. He's serious, and he looks pretty strong here on opening day, winning easily at 20-1.
Yeah, that's the easiest 20-1 winner you'll ever see. Magic, you're a price play as well. So if you combined the Magic Mike price play, Fair Maiden 20-1, Golden Principle 12-1, that makes up your exacta, and then your top pick underneath for third. Magic, turn it for home. Did you think you had it with the 10?
I did. I'm still mad that I didn't end up doing that across the board because it did second place at 12-1 with a 20-1 on top that's still gonna pay off quite nicely. How did you know what? I was sitting here going, she's 18-1 loading in the gate. How did she break at 12-1? Freaking computers. Listen, that race right there showed you that the dirt track is playing very fairly. So, I know we've only got a few races left here. It doesn't help you too much, but for that Malibu, I think you can't single a speed horse. If you like one of those, I think you need a horse like Independence Hall, Collusion Illusion, the Hell Express Train 1000. You need somebody underneath that's going to save you if that speed horse burns out.
Boy, guys, at this point, it's kind of just toss your hands in the air a little bit. Yes, Samich did have Fair Maiden, but, he didn't have a Kiss Today Goodbye, so it's really hard to string together bets. Now, he is in a great spot now for the pick 4, so hopefully we'll root for him the rest of the way. Hopefully he can cash that pick 4 because that's a hell of a start. 20-1 is a hell of a start, boys. So we'll root for him. We kind of knew this race was wide open. And boy.
Look at – are you still watching the feed? Everybody's celebrating with Ricky. It's his first grade 1 win.
Oh, there you go.
He looks like he's arrived. And Magic, maybe you can talk about it a little bit more. Is it me, or am I putting too much stock into what he did at Los Al? But he was good.
No. Yeah, he was really good at Del Mar too. I will say his big thing with Del Mar, he was known for mostly a speed rider. If he was on a front runner, he was great at getting him to relax, and he even said like he needed to get better with these off the pace horses. He's learned. He came down with Juan Hernandez from Golden Gate after the spring, and Sean Alvarez, who joins us sometimes. He and I were both excited for both those guys because we knew they were the kings at Golden Gate for a reason. They were doing very well, and so the fact that they've come down here, I'm not going to say this is the best jockey colony. I still think that New York, Florida, wherever the Ortiz brothers all go, that's the strongest one. But I think California is clearly the second best right now.
I want to touch on something a comment just made for Nick Sievers, one of our good buddies that always is on the show or always is watching the show. Finite didn't run at Santa Anita and didn't seem to like it. Has me considering fading Nashville. Reason I want to bring this up, I was on the comment section with Nick for the Magic Mike show, and he said, "Hey, I don't know if Nashville's going to like the track." And my reply was, "I'm not saying you're right or wrong because it's always a guess, right?" But I said, "What's the reasonings?" Now he has a solid reasoning, like he has proof of something that just happened, right? So, Ricky, kick it to you since Magic just spoke. What do you think about the performance of Finite and the track, and does it equate to what might happen a couple of races later?
It's tough to make. I'll get to the second point in a minute. I just want to touch on Finite real quick. I'll take the first part of it.
Sure.
He really broke really, really poorly. The first quarter was 21-4, so it's very quick for 7 furlongs, and that's one of the things I talked about at the beginning. How does this race set up? Does it play like a route? Does it play like 8 furlongs, or does it play like 6? It's really tough to judge what you're going to get with 7 furlongs, and I think that's what makes it so interesting. It really played like a sprint here. She was just too far back, so I don't really know if we could judge it. She was really, really poor. I think she came on a little bit at the end, but that was probably just horses kind of weakening out, like Secret Keeper, Miko, some of the other tough competitors. She wasn't great. I don't know if we could really play that moving forward. And for me, I'll never look at opening day and say that's a trend. For me, that's too early to make a trend. Now, some people might not. For me, I can't do it as we just watched race 8. So for me, I hate saying this, but I'll like Finite back. I don't know. I don't want to judge her off this. I don't think she ran all that well, but I'll take her again next time out. In terms of moving on with Collusion, Illusion, and Charlatan and Nashville in that race, if you've watched Nashville run, you might be able to run on cement. So I'm not sure if you're going to sit here and say he won't like Santa Anita and all this other stuff. And granted, he might not, but he might not because he might just not because the track's playing a certain way. And sure, Charlatan has run well here, but the layoff is obviously a concern. So that race is not taking me off Nashville if you liked it before.
All right, Magic, what do you think about the comment that Nick made there?
I think he brings up a fair point because this is one of my questions coming into the race for the Malibu. Not so much for Finite, although I guess it clearly should have been, is the experience over the track. They both worked at Fairgrounds coming into this, and that's usually Asmussen style for a long ship, is just work them at home and then send them out and get a few days beforehand. So, without seeing that actual timed hard work over the track, you could read into that, but you're also... I looking at Finite here, and I'm mad at myself for not catching this when we were covering it before. She's never come close to chasing that kind of a speed. And you would think because she's a closer that she should be fine. But if you look at her, the only time she's ever come close to that speed, she was on turf, and she ended up being last of 11 in that race. So every time before that, 22-4, 22-1, 22-2, 23 flat, 22. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened with her because this was so fast it should have fallen apart for her, and it just didn't.
Well, the pace set up perfectly like I thought it would for Finite, but if you're not going to rewind this, but if you think back to what I said before the race, Finite's not a deep closer. She'll be mid-pack or stalking. She was dead last, and I think Ricky, you touched on that as well. I think that's what did it more than anything. I think she got out sprinted today, guys. And I think Magic, how you just touched on it. I just think she looked up and said, where in the hell am I right now? Why am I in dead last? So I don't necessarily think the track is her excuse. I just think she got outran big time today. Does it make me worried about Nashville in the Malibu? No. So we'll move on to the American Oaks race 9. We are now, where are we, guys? My feed just went dark on us there. Where are we? But 25 minutes away from the 9th race. It is the American Oaks Grade 1. Second of 3 straight ones on this card. And we've got a high caliber horse right here at number 9, Sharing. Right now, the 8-5 favorite. I think she'd be a shorter price if this race was at 1 mile and 16th. I'll start with you, Magic, because you and I had a long discussion about the distance of 1.25 miles with Sharing. I think earlier in the week you were kind of against her, but what do you think now?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that we talked, because we almost talked each other off her completely, and then ended up putting her both on top completely. Listen, you see the Spitestown, you think, well, probably not going to be able to handle 1.25 miles, but that's where the damn side comes in, baby. Shared account, Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf winner, going much longer than Sharing's been going. So she's got the pedigree underneath that says she should handle the distance. I love that she's coming out of the matriarch. Yeah, it was 1 mile, but that was against older horses. She was facing some really nice ones there. And unless Chad Brown has a secret monster that none of us are aware of, you're going to see this horse do really well here, because this is a not as difficult spot as the matriarch was.
Yeah, that was my take on it as well. Getting back in against those 3-year-olds, that's a big class drop from that Grade 1 matriarch against Open Company there. Ricky, as far as Sharing and the distance, what do you think? Can she get it, or are you looking elsewhere?
No, that's why I went on top too. I think that, to Magic's point, the class is certainly there. This is really, really interesting, because you're going to get that, Magic knows this better than I certainly do, that weird little run up into, I'll call it a half a turn. I guess it's, I don't know what the people out west like to call it, but this is really, really interesting with the track. If you're not aware of this distance, they start literally on the outside and then kind of make their way into the stretch there. So this is 2.5 turns. I kind of want to see where she's starting from the 9th spot. I want to kind of see what happens early on with her, because this is really, really tough. I've talked about this at some other tracks, like Belmont has this weird Widener angle and inner turf angle as well. Some of those horses from the outer post positions tend to sometimes struggle making their way, and what they're forced to do in kind of almost in standard bred racing, if you're on the outside, kind of duck your way in. So I kind of want to see what John Velasquez does with her. But to Magic's point, unless I think duopoly would have to take a step up. I want to ask you guys on something. Luck Money comes into this race at 7-2 on the morning line. What was that about? She doesn't look anything of the lines of 7-2. Are we completely missing something? I think the last time I just looked she was 15-1. Something's not right there. Can you guys maybe touch on that a little bit? Because I was shocked. I didn't like her, but I didn't think 15-1 was necessarily a price that I'd be seeing on her right now.
Magic, you kind of liked Luck Money a little bit, right?
I didn't like her at that price. Yeah, if she's not, I got her at 13-1 at the exact moment here. I know it's changing every few seconds, but I'd like her at that price. I just thought 7-2 was way too short of a price to choke down when, she's coming out of I talked about how Sharing's coming out of a 3 and up grade 1. She's coming out of a 3 and up turf race going 1.5 miles that she won. She beat Muda Makina, who got a 93 buyer for winning a grade 3 stakes next out. She's done well at Kentucky Downs going really long. We've talked about how that's been a really good track to pretend success moving forward. Harvey's Little Goyle was just ahead of her in that race at Kentucky Downs. We've seen what Harvey's Little Goyle's gone on to do on the turf. So I think there's a lot to like about her on paper without that 7-2 price. I didn't play her, but again, that price was my big reason against her.
Yeah, Luck Money, I think 7-2 was really crazy. I did think, hey, the distance is going to be just fine for Luck Money. I mean, that was kind of the strong thing about her, but gosh, I mean, 7-2 with all these other horses in the race, like I was really shocked. by that as well. And as I mentioned, all these other horses in the race, let's talk about the 2 Chad Brown shippers, who obviously are going to play, you would think, a big part of this. The 8 Duopoly coming in with Flavian Pratt aboard, obviously a great sign. And then the 3 Capital Structure. He gets Joel Rosario. That's not bad. Or she gets Joel Rosario. That's not bad either. Ricky, out of the 2 Chad Brown horses, do you like them both, or which one do you like the best?
I would lean towards Capital Structure, and for the point you just talked about, I'm not too familiar with the Flavian Pratt, Chad Brown angle, and Magic can speak on it. But
there isn't one.
Right, I didn't think there was, because Chad Brown at this point this is the point for him. He's a New York guy, and he's really, really scattered right now. So he'll be a little bit in Gulfstream, a little bit out west, and even a little bit back at Aqueduct. So when I saw Joel Rosario, I liked Duopoly a little bit more on paper. But I said, look, Joel Rosario getting aboard here would probably lean me this way. I think they're both fantastic runners. I really, really do. The Capital Structure seems to be kind of peaking at the right time. We already know, and in my opinion, we already kind of know what Duopoly is. I watched that Winter Memories at Aqueduct. It wasn't the strongest field of all time necessarily, so I know Vigilante's Way actually just won today at Gulfstream earlier in the day in their race. I think it was maybe the Tropical Oaks or something like that. I would lean towards Capital Structure for just the Joel Rosario. If you don't know, Joel Rosario rides often for Chad Brown, or usually maybe Christophe Clement, but he's a New York guy. Flavian Pratt's an out west guy. That's the angle I really kind of look for when I'm deciding between these two.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. To me, guys, it just comes down to, listen, Chad, he's great when he sends horses over here on the West Coast, whether it's Santa Anita or Del Mar, but they are outclassed big time when it comes to sharing. And can they make up that class, and what factors are within this race that are going to allow them to do that? And Ricky M., who's still alive in the Pick 4, first of all, congratulations on that.
Yes.
That's an accomplishment. He likes Duopoly wire to wire here, and I agree. I definitely think this horse is going to get a lonely lead out there, and that's the one they're going to have to come get. My worry is that Sharing has tactical speed as well and can come get Duopoly. The one factor, if Sharing is tired at the top of the stretch and she's got to make up a length or two on this Chad Brown horse who's not tired, it's going to be extremely difficult for her to do that. I'll kick it to you now, Magic. The 3 or the 8 for Chad Brown, which one do you like the best?
Oh, I'm going to go with my boy Flavian Pratt with Duopoly. Because of the speed thing. The biggest concern for me as far as speed goes is the 4 going to Vegas, who I did add my revised, now dead, late pick 5 ticket. I had it going to Vegas because I like that red carpet handicap effort that she's coming out of. But if there's one horse that could go get to wire, it's Duopoly. And Smooth Like Straight showed that the speed is holding well on the turf. If you're a good horse with good speed, you're going to do well and hold on. So I think Duopoly definitely has that chance. I don't love with either one of these Chad Brown horses that they had to go to Monmouth to break their maidens. That's something that Ricky taught me this summer, is that usually Chad's best horses don't leave New York and go to Monmouth to try and get their maidens broken. So, you've seen that with both of those horses, but at the same time, these aren't his best horses, at least that we know of right now. So I'm not too worried about that.
I'm going to stay with you just real quick because
Sure.
I just glanced over and saw that Red Lark is 9-2 currently. The odds. I know you want to get value. I think 10-1. That was never going to happen, but I did think 6 or 8-1. Right now at 9-2. Obviously, that's going to make you a little less interested in Red Lark. But talk to me about your confidence and how you believe she's going to run it. And if 9-2, it's just like, well, forget it. Or are you still going to kind of stick with her a little bit?
Not at 9-2. She was a value play for me. I think that she'll probably float up. I think we'll see the market correct a little bit here. Duopoly, if there's any Chad Brown horse, it shouldn't be 7-1. There's 2 of them here. Capital Structure is 3-1, and she's now 7-1. So I think that's going to correct itself. I think Red Lark's going to slip back a little bit. But a lot of people are going to point to the fact that she's done well going a mile and an eighth. She's done well against a lot of these horses. That effort last out the QE2 Cup, she had 4th to Harvey's Little Goyle, so not too bad. I already talked about with another horse why that was a big deal for me. So I like her. She's going to come running late, but especially with the pace scenario, I don't love her at this price.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, like I say, 92 is a little bit surprising. Ricky, he mentioned that the breaking the maiden at Monmouth, and you know all about that as well. I mean, you went to Monmouth this year. You know the caliber horses that run there are not great. I want you to touch on Michael Myers' comment, though. Duopoly did break maiden at Monmouth and then won an allowance next out at Saratoga. I'm going to kick it to the East Coast guy, Ricky, here. Does that kind of move Duopoly up the ladder a little bit in your mind?
Not necessarily. So one of the things that I always like to do is take a look, and a lot of people don't. When you look at the maidens, when was the last time Chad Brown was 6-1 with a maiden at Saratoga? If anyone could find that information, it's probably never. Or almost never, especially on the turf. So a lot of people that go to Monmouth or watch Monmouth or follow Monmouth are locals. They're not people that are playing for the first time unless you have the Haskell or something like that, but it's very rare. Capital Structure was 6-1, almost 6.5-1 on that day. So I think that's one of those situations where Chad Brown's still a very good trainer. You don't throw his horses out, but 6-1 is a strong indication that his horses don't always run when they go to Monmouth. Now, that's not saying the horse can't improve, nothing like that. Mind you, maybe that was just a litmus test for Chad Brown, and maybe I'm not questioning Chad Brown, but the horse, she broke her maiden on July 17th, didn't run again until September 24th. Sometimes for me, that's an indication, whoa, we might have something here. I know, again, I'm not questioning Chad Brown. I'm not saying I know more, but that's sometimes if the horse isn't, there's something not wrong. That could be, this horse might be more talented than we originally thought, or this horse is a lot less talented than we originally thought. And I think that's what kind of that move means. Went from an AOC to an allowance. So that's probably an equal move. Logic and Reason, if you follow Naira, really, really, really good horse. So a lot of people don't know Logic and Reason. So I think that race was probably tougher than her most recent start. So I think a lot of people need to really look at those Monmouth races and say, let's kind of put a pause when we see a Chad Brown moving forward. Even though she did win, she was 6-1, which a lot of people down there know. That's what you're going to get on Chad Brown. You could actually get some value.
Yeah, I think there it is again for Michael Myers. Badge, I think you just put that up. This is also 2020. COVID really screwed up schedules. He had limited spots to run his horses. Also true. I still kind of side with Ricky on the fact that he don't want to send him to Monmouth. He's sending him to Monmouth for a reason. But, he can misjudge a horse now and then. So it does happen. It's not like he's never had a Monmouth horse that goes on to do big things. He has. Listen, it's not impossible, but it's overall, in general, it's not a great sign. Magic, I wanted to kick one over to you real quick. Only two jockeys have experience on this new turf course before today, Pratt and Rispoli. That should be a factor early in the meet. Thoughts on that comment, Magic?
I think he's talking the turf shoot, the new turf course that they built, which is pretty cool. So it used to be when they're doing 5.5 furlong turf sprints, they started them on the dirt, and because the horses aren't wearing toe grabs, a lot of them were stumbling, and so they built the turf chute behind the turn so that they do cross over the dirt, but they have enough of a run up to where they can really get their feet going on the turf. There was one, when they first opened it, they put two horses out there and they worked them a quarter mile from the gate, and it was Pratt and Rispoli aboard, and they came back and were like, yeah, this is great, we love it. That's as far as I would go with their experience. Now, what Rispoli did with Smooth Like Straight, that Ricky talked about earlier in this show when we first went live, they're going out there and they're looking closely at the turf course in general to see where they should be running, which all these smart jockeys are going to be doing is, yeah, you might have raced over this 1,000 times, but you haven't raced on it since October. So what's changed? What's different? So that's as far as I would take that. But when it first came in, it kind of made me laugh because I knew what he was talking about.
All right, yeah. I knew you'd be the perfect one to ask that question to because you would be the only one that would know. A couple of people have chimed in and said they've got Red Lark finishing last at 6-1.
Oh.
Expect Drayden to do Drayden and ease up. This has got to be the same person because they said almost the exact same thing. I don't know what that – I mean, I just thought that was too funny not to put up there. So
it's just mean. Drayden's a nice kid.
chime in and let us know where you're betting a horse to finish last, because I don't know. We can't do that here. So you got to be overseas on a market.
Mike Somich might know. That's something he would know.
Maybe this is Mike Somich's YouTube name right here.
The burner account.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's his burner account. Mike Myers says prop bets are great. I agree. Michael Myers, I think you might have like a side bet with Dr. Marin on this race.
He does.
He does. What is that?
Yeah,
the side bet is that he believes that she's crazy by not using a Neige Blanche, the 10 horse, underneath to hit the board in the exotic. So he said that she will finish ahead of Going to Vegas in this race.
Okay. Well, that's listen. That's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching the 4 and 10 and who wins. You guys tell me who wins the race, and I will keep track. I have labeled myself the commissioner of this side bet between Dr. Miranda and Michael Myers. So a little something to spice it up there. 10 minutes post coming out on the track, guys. We've had some funny comments here. So listen, we're out of the pick 5. We're out of the pick 4. Pick 3, Ricky. Are you coming back with a pick 3? If so, what is it?
If I were to come back with a pick 3, I would definitely change a few of the things. I'm not as good with the math off the top of my head. I still want to use sharing, but this is what I would do. I would go all in, and I'm going to say that the long shot stop. So I would use Capital Structure, I would use Red Lark, and I'd use sharing, the 3 that I kind of want. I'll be willing to throw out Duopoly. I would single Nashville and say that Nashville's better. And then I would kind of go a little bit longer. In the last leg, I would use On Mars, Nasty, and Warren Showtime. Not going to use the Chad Brown counterparty risk there. Again, take for what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because it's been a rough go here in the last few races. I didn't have Fair Maiden. I didn't have the 2 horse the race before. I want to kick it to Magic because my money would be going down the drain right now. So help me out here.
Oh, my money's been down the drain too. It's not everything was great until we started doing this live show, and then all of a sudden everything fell apart for me.
I hear you. That's me too. I wasn't doing too bad until we started this shit.
Yeah. Man, I wouldn't roll back with a pick 3A because my luck suddenly changed, and this is actually what happened that very first time I went to the track to the Malibu. I did really great until the stakes action kicked off, and then the wheels all fell off at that point. I blame the tip sheet that I bought that day. I can't remember what company I bought it from. They told me it was guaranteed, and it ended up working out very well. I probably would pass.
That's good.
I probably would pass because my viewing is the last 3 races skew chalky, but. If you wanted to keep going, I'm with Ricky. I think the last race is where you're going to find your value at. I think the 2 Phil D'Amato horses, including On Mars, which Ricky mentioned, also Beguiled, getting Pratt up for Little Red Feather. I think those are good ones to watch out for. That last race at Santa Anita has been my death knell for 2 years now. So if you can find a way to spread there and maybe single up a horse you like, or maybe go single in the long shot in the first 2 legs, that'd be how I'd approach it.
I would not play a pick 3 either. I would come back right here with a win bet on sharing. I think 2-1 is just too good to pass up. Yes, I understand the distance is a question mark, but you're getting 2-1 on a horse that is just so much classier than everybody in this race. So I would play a win on sharing here and then monitor the odds in race 10, and then race 11 would definitely get some kind of exotic, and we'll kind of talk about that when we get here. We got to have content to fill the rest of the show, so we can't talk about race 11 right now, for goodness sakes. So race 9, yeah, right here, I'm keeping it simple. I'm doing sharing. If for some reason she falls below like 8-5, maybe I'll cancel that bet. But at 2-1, I definitely think she is worth the play here. Guys, we've hammered the chalk in this race over and over and over. I'll kick it to Ricky now. And I know Red Lark was supposed to be our price play. Magic, she's going the opposite way. She's now 4-1. So where is the value in the race now, Ricky?
And that's the thing. It's ironic. One of the things we talked about on the first ever edition of the Rocket Hour when you have a stakes race, kind of look at the prices and say there's two horses. Usually, for example, 5-2 and 8-1. It's really important to use both. And the reason we've talked about it and we agree is because if a trainer or the connections, whatever, they felt strong enough to go one deep, they would go one deep. But when you have that price at 8-1 versus the 5-2, it's an indication that the 8-1 is going to run. So now that I'm talking about it here, I think you have to look at duopoly and say 7-1 is a nice price. I think the morning line odds were wrong on Luck Money, but I think the morning line odds are necessarily matching up with duopoly, 4-1 for 7-1. I think that's where you can find some value here as well. So I'll kick it to you guys. If this stays the same, I would use capital structure with that pick 3 ticket, but I'd also have a little bit of money on duopoly to win as well, just because I like 7-1 so much.
Well, I'll piggyback and say 7-1 on duopoly. Somehow, I thought this would be the second choice, but somehow that's value now. She's the value horse all of a sudden. Listen, I'll make Michael Myers smile a little bit. That's why I come on these shows, just to make him smile. I think the 10 horse Nage Blanche, that's a good price at 18-1. And this is a horse that should go long pretty well. This is the first time this horse will be stretching out in 5 starts. Man, 18-1 is a little too high on that horse. I think I would be inclined to throw a couple bucks on that horse across the board. Just to kind of say, hey, if that horse upsets, I want to have a little bit of money. Magic, what do you think of that horse?
Nage Blanche, well, I'll tell you this. I would not have accepted Michael Myers' bet when he was trying to get me to go heads up, Nage Blanche versus another horse, because I think she's got the distance isn't a question, so you know she's going to be going. She's got the second best turf rider that's based in California on her, and Umberto Rispoli. As a horse that I liked a lot in the Del Mar Oaks, didn't work out as well as we had hoped, but it was her first time in North America, so you can always be a little forgiving. And then Michael Myers' point, he said that the Belmont Oaks she shipped, it was her first time shipping since coming to America, and now she's had time to settle down because that was mid-September. So if you think in the last 3 months, Leonard Powell is a very good trainer, especially on turf. If he would have time to get her to relax and get going, he's 19% off of these kinds of layoffs. And she won at a mile 3/8 on the turf. She won twice going a mile 1/4 on the synthetic overseas. So again, distance is not an issue. I don't know that she has a strong enough kick to get it done. And to your earlier point about the odds and the way things were going, if this was the NFL, one thing that I learned a long time ago is when the public goes one way, you go that way. Where's everybody going? Red Lark. Where is nobody going? Luck Money. I don't understand why there's a complete drop-off for Luck Money here. I'm looking at her form. When she won that race 2 back, they went 11.5 seconds in the final furlong. She rallied and went 11.5 seconds on the Keeneland turf to get up for the win over older horses. It was allowance level, but for her to be able to do that, get that kind of an effort going, it was Rosario. I think he's slightly better than Ricardo Santana Jr., but if Ricardo can, he's an aggressive rider when he needs to be, so if he can get her to kick, by looking at Lucky out of a Rahi mare, she should have no problem with the distance either. And again, public's that way. I'm kind of going this way to Luck Money right now.
I kind of think
that. Can I hop in real quick?
Yep, go ahead.
Could we show Muhammad's comment, the first comment?
Yep.
Most recently. Okay, so when you were talking about, this is an overseas book, and the second comment that he talked about is BET 365. If you are playing overseas and the odds are fixed, like Bovada, some of these offshore books, yes, the horses that are in that 6 to 8-1 range, they're going to fall down. The horses that are 10-1, they're going to skyrocket. So based on which ones you're looking at, I just wanted to talk on this real quick. Mm-hmm. Talking about overseas, and some people might be overseas, take what your fixed price, because, for example, the next comment, it says Red Lark is 8-1 on BET 365. There we go. And that's the right price, 8-1. That's what we're talking about, but we're not going to get that. If you're playing it here in the U.S., you're talking about 4.5-1 or 9-2. So just to touch on that real quick, yes, if you are playing overseas, take a look, compare the prices, especially if you're playing what he's calling singles or win bet. And Aaron, I want to talk to you. Let's do a $10 side wager. I'll take the 4 and you take the 10. Whoever finishes ahead.
Oh my goodness. So now I'm involved in this Miranda Michael Myers thing with you. Okay.
This is all Samich's fault. He does this shit all the time.
No, just heads up. If they finish last and second to last, it's still on. Now, the only way I'll call the race off is if a horse gets pulled up. God willing, that doesn't happen. But if they both finish, and I guess we can, if there's any dispute, we can go to Equibase and figure it out. But if they both, let's assume they both finish, I'll take the 4 over the 10 straight up for $10.
Okay. Nope. I'm with you. I'll take the 10. And if the 4 doesn't finish, I still want my $10. I'm not going to be as nice as you about it. That's that.
All right. Okay. Well,
as long as that 4 breaks from the gate, that's it. I don't care if she finishes or not.
Okay. So I'll take it the other way, assuming the 10 breaks normally.
Right.
Okay. So they don't have to finish. For the record, they don't have to finish.
Okay. All right. Well, perfect timing. $10. Now I really do have to watch the 4 and the 10. All right. They're getting ready to go on the gate. That's why I said perfect timing here to kind of transition to the race. I don't know, guys. Surely we're going to get like a more normal result. We've had 2 wild ones here. Listen, if we get if Miss Addie Prey wins, we're shutting off the feed. This is it. You'll see us back on Wednesday for the Rocket Hour. That'll be the next time you see us.
We won't even say goodbye. I'll just like pull us out, put the closing music on, and we'll just pull an Irish goodbye.
If Miss Addie Prey wins, our bet's off.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, no, we're not sticking around for Michael Myers for that. Sorry, buddy.
All right, they're almost in. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, man. I'm happy to be back at Santa Anita. This is just a beautiful place to watch races, whether you're there or watching on Simulcast.
God, doesn't that turf course just like look so gorgeous too? Oh my God, so beautiful.
All right, they're off, and there goes Duopoly, and Sharing is right there, kind of in second. So pretty much what we thought. They're going to cross the dirt here, and didn't seem to have any problems. Sometimes the horse will have problems on that little crossover, but it was fine there.
I heard someone, who was it? A jockey, it might have been Pratt, say that he likes it when they put a shadow roll on a horse. This is before they got rid of the downhill turf. They would put the shadow rolls on the horse because then they can't see that the surface is going to change. And he said a lot of times horses struggle because they see it change and they freak out and they skip over, which is why even then you saw a little bit they fanned out. But sometimes those downhill turf courses, they go all the way to the outside rail.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen him do it. You're right. It's very unique. There's no question. So to kick it to this race, this is absolutely exactly how I envisioned it going. Now we'll see if the finish is how I envisioned it, but the 8's out ahead, and it's just set a pace almost 50 seconds for the half of the 4 going to Vegas. Ricky, she's right up there in third. So
the 10 is sitting right behind. We should have just combined and said, let's actually put a wager on this horse, both horses, because they're both in decent spots.
Yeah, they are. They are. So Sharing. So, I don't know. Going to Vegas has a handful of horse. So does Sharing. There's really no excuse for Sharing. Yes, the 8's got out ahead, but she's been within range the whole time. Like, she's a half length from her right now. So if Sharing's good enough, she will pass this 8. Putting in the stretch. Duopoly still with the lead. Listen, Going to Vegas is going to win the bet. Going to Vegas may win the race. Running really well. They're into the stretch. Can Sharing kick on? She's trying. I think the 8's going to
Boy, we got a good finish here. Come on.
Nope. 8 wire to wire is going to win the race.
Yep.
I'm going to.
Boy, where'd that 10 horse go?
The 8, 4, and maybe Sharing for third.
I should almost get double my money for having that horse finish on the board. I should have put that in the stipulation.
Well, it's too bad we're going to do double or nothing before this thing's over, Ricky. So you still might get $20.
For anyone that knows, Aaron is wearing his Cardinals sweatshirt for Kyler Murray. So in the back of our minds, we are all watching for fantasy implications. But as any Oklahoma Sooner fan knows, they won't go down without a fight. So yes, I will give you double or nothing. We'll find it along here in the next hour or so, but I will grant you double or nothing.
One got third, it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like 8, 4, 1, 9. Of course, I had the 8, I had the 1, I had the 9, didn't have the 4. So, yeah, that's Miranda, there you go.
Woo! All right. Good job, Dr. Miranda.
Oh man, Miranda coming in. There you go. Well, shit, Michael Myers says. Yeah. Well,
Listen, Michael Myers listens to the Magic Mike show as much as anybody does, and he should have known from my experience that you get lucky once, you don't get lucky twice. And so he got lucky the first time he did a head-to-head bet with somebody. Dr. Miranda brought him down to earth right there.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: I'm not disappointed with that result because I did like duopoly quite a bit. Boy, Magic! Remember when you tried to talk me out of sharing, and I ended up talking you into sharing? That was smart on my part. So.
We were both big on duopoly, so it's fine.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to flip flop those two, but that's all right. Duopoly ran well, and listen, you set those kind of fractions. If you're a pretty good horse, it's just going to be tough to run down. And Flavian Pratt walked the dog.
Jesus, she did.
Yeah, but again, I think the sharing distance problem hit her right in the face because she's right there on the turn, and she hasn't taken up that much energy. So if she gets the mile and a quarter, I think she still wins. But duopoly, a great performance. Going to Vegas, gets second. Damn it, that's not good. So, but listen. I will be back, Ricky. I'm going to think of something. It may be the 10th race. It may be the 11th race. So don't get too comfortable.
I'm definitely not getting too comfortable. I've learned you get too high in this sport, you're going to come crashing down. So I'm going to stay in a nice, comfortable mindset, but I'm not going to get too excited about it. I will not be putting my Venmo information public. We will discuss that on a private note, but I think I forgot who asked the question, where's their value? Duopoly was the value based on the two Chad Browns. If you look at the morning lines, 3-1 versus 4-1, one's actually going off at 3-1, one's going off at 6-1. It would have been really, really difficult to say which one is better. We kind of thought they were really similar. And that's the nice thing about this sport. When you actually think it through or think it out loud and said, I'm getting double my money or double the value on duopoly, and there's capital structure coming in fifth. As we like to say, walk the dog almost 25 seconds. You're not catching any of these horses going 25 seconds. So it looked like the race was kind of over after the first and second quarter were posted.
Can I tell you what one of my favorite things about Klarovich Stables? So Seth Klarman owns Klarovich Stables. He's a big finance guy, and a lot of his horses have financial terms, almost all of them. Duopoly, this is why I think duopoly winning kind of fits. Duopoly in finance terms means you basically have two entities that own over 80% of the market. When it comes to turf stakes races, Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, it doesn't get much more of a duopoly than that combination right there. So it just I thought that this kind of fit really well here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
Hey, look who joined us.
Oh my God, wait, hold on. Is that who I think it is?
Yeah, I got an IV in me over here, so don't worry about it.
For the
Wow.
first time since his birthday bash, he is on a Racing Dudes live show network right now.
Drinking coffee, I haven't slept in 2 weeks, so.
This is
I can see every single one of your teeth right now. You're smiling that much.
I think you would too if you knew what I've been through.
Wow.
We missed you at the draft.
Wow. Well, listen, I want to comment on something Ricky said. We're watching in the background. We're watching San Francisco and Arizona. This is why I hate the Cardinals. 14-6 at home playing the freaking 49ers.
Well, I'm happy you brought that up, and I'm happy the fourth member joined. I haven't gotten a text about Lamar Jackson in weeks. So that means two things. Either one, he's out of the fantasy playoffs, which I don't know. I'm not in the league. Or two, Lamar's playing really, really well. So if I don't get a text by Sunday at 2 p.m. or an hour into their game, whether I'm watching or not, I know how Lamar's playing. So I haven't gotten a text in weeks. Lamar's probably been the MVP of December. No surprise there. So, to touch on your Cardinals, since we do have some time, it's good that their playoff lives are on the line. And they have 6 points. I have DeAndre Hopkins. I'm waiting. There's a touchdown coming. There's a touchdown coming.
I have no idea. I'm not shocked though. I've watched this shit show all year, so this is really not surprising to me whatsoever. It's the Cardinals. You know, what are you gonna do? So listen, let's kick back to horse racing. We got our newest member here, Jared. It's 25 minutes away from the Malibu. Listen, you haven't spoke yet on the show. What are your thoughts on the Malibu?
Well, a couple things. One, let me give my little recap of I've been watching, between sessions I've been watching and some of these races, and no one got that one. And dude, Mucho Gusto was awful, like beyond awful. I'm with you, Halterman. I watched some of this coverage, and I was like, it looked like you weren't even worried because it looked like top of the stretch he was just going to win, like just going to kind of pull away. And I mean, dude, that guy quit so hard down the lane. That was really bad. I mean, what he finished fourth, I think. So totally quit. The other races, props to Stomach. That was a great pick in that 2 races back. And then, I mean, geez, these races have been tough. Let's get to this race. Obviously, the main event, Malibu. I kind of think Nashville should have been the power play of the day on the website. I really like him that much. Mucho Gusto scared me off the layoff, but still he was running against a bunch of nobodies. You would have thought would have won. But Nashville, to me, I think this horse is just a freak. And obviously, judging off the Mucho Gusto, we don't know. Maybe the Baffert juice right now isn't as good as it was. So Charlatan, you just don't know. And that's another horse coming off a long layoff. So do you really count on him?
That's a good question. I think that's the toe guard's really showing it. I didn't think there would be this much of a discrepancy between Nashville 4-5 and Charlatan 3-1. So yeah, I mean, maybe we had a Baffert horse really do much? I guess not.
Merneath is the best one so far. She got third. She held on for third in the Brea. That's the best one.
Merneath ran pretty well.
Golden Principle.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Golden Principle.
Baffert's maiden didn't do much in the second race. So, yeah, it could be a situation where he's not going to fire today. But, Charlatan obviously.
How sad.
Yeah, I know. Really, really, really sad if that is the case. But Charlatan obviously, he may be a different breed. This horse was one that we thought was an absolute monster earlier in the year. So,
I just like the way Nashville, it's like, with Charlatan, it's just been one thing after another. Obviously the issues, and then now you're here. It's like Nashville. It's like everything's been planned, towards this race. We saw him, Halterman, you and I at the Breeders' Cup running in a race that didn't matter, and we're like, what are they doing? Not running him in the Breeders' Cup. You could have won that race, but it's like they've been very careful with how they've handled him, and so it just feels like he's a horse that's just now starting. I mean, this is like the springboard into another, a really big year for him, So to me, Nashville is the one that's just one race after another has been a little bit better and a little bit better. And he just seems to me the one that's coming into this race. This horse looks freakish. 3 straight bullet works. You can't ask for the horse doing much better. Santana makes the trip with him. So yeah, I think he's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I do too. I immediately, when this race came out, there is Charlatan and there is the pace play in Independence Hall, and both make sense. I'm not going to try to talk people off that horse, but to me, I left Keeneland thinking, well, hell, Nashville would have won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Well, if I'm thinking that, how can I not pick him here in the Malibu? And so it's like, okay, he's the top pick, and I'm going to move on. So I kind of agree with Jared's thoughts. Ricky, we'll kick it to you now. Quick early thoughts as we are sitting here about 23 minutes to post.
So just taking a look at the odds, a few of the things that I noticed, I think 9-2 on Collusion Illusion is a bit short. I know I liked him a lot, even though he didn't run well in the sprint. The other one is Independence Hall at 6-1 is a little bit more attractive than I originally thought. I kind of expected Nashville to take a lot of money, but that's also surprising. But I think my biggest takeaway would be Collusion Illusion at 9-2. At that point, I would, if we were kind of choosing before when we were doing our pick 4 drafting, I'm not taking 9-2 on Collusion Illusion at all.
Magic, can you touch on the 9-2? Do you think it's the My Racehorse people betting right now?
Yes, that's a big part of it. It doesn't help from that side that the report that all the owners got via email after his last workout, as Pratt said, that he worked better than he's ever done before. And it's the job of my racehorse to get their owners excited about their horses running, which is why nobody said anything to me about Wayne O running today in that turf sprint at Santa Anita Park. So it didn't go too well for him. Listen, the collusion illusion thing, I think that's a big part of it. I think people are going to play up the fact that the Breeders' Cup Sprint was too much for him, and comparatively, this isn't nearly as salty of a field. But I feel like this might be the market overcorrecting to what we saw in the La Brea, which was the horse come from off the pace to win. And she looked very nice in that, but you had a wall of 5 horses on the backstretch in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all going way too fast. So I don't think you're going to have that here, and I think that Collusion Illusion's race setup here, Aaron, reminds me of the Sandia Sprint Championship, where you had him chasing after 2 horses that were gunning on the lead, including CZ Rocket, and he never really picked up his feet, even though he had the opportunity to try and get moving. So I own part of this horse. He's not on any of my tickets. I took him off. I added him at the last second when I removed Charlatan for the show, and then I slept on it and went, that was really dumb. This isn't the race to play him here.
Yeah, I think you're right on it as well. I just don't see any way. I just don't see any way. But there's been some wild results today, so we'll see.
We didn't see Kiss Today. Goodbye.
Let's talk about Charlatan real quick here, and I'm gonna go around the room. I'm gonna start with Jared. Charlatan finishes second. Let's say second. You think he will finish better than second? Second exactly, or worse than second?
Well, I mean, I'm picking Nashville to win, so I'll say second. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just have a feeling like he either wins or he's like off the board completely. Like it's so that is my concern. Independence Hall at the price, I think, is super interesting. I think that horse coming on up and coming. Kind of getting back to what he's best at. I don't know. Like, I'm going to say, okay, I'll stick my neck out. I'll say under. He does not hit second.
Okay. Ricky?
So when we talked about it earlier with the pace stool, I'm going to go, I guess, under also. He will finish worse than second. And the reason is it's very rare that 2 horses hook up like this and continue to run well throughout. Usually one falls off. So I'm with Jared that I think Nashville's the better of the 2, which leaves room for a collusion illusion, someone else to come off the pace. So I'm going to say third or worse.
Ooh, third or worse. Okay, Magic.
Can you remember, the question is he finish second or worse versus win?
Does he win? Does he finish second, or does he finish worse than second?
Yeah, worse than second. So third or worse.
There you go.
I think he's top 2. I think that he's fast enough that he's going to be too far ahead of 1,000 Words, Express Train, and maybe Collusion Illusion for them to catch, even if he does fall off. I almost want to stick my neck out and say he's going to be alone on the lead, because I don't think of Mike Smith and think he just sends to the lead and he lets himself get stuck in a pace duel. If he thinks that this is going to be a pace duel like the rest of us do, maybe he tries to get Charlatan to sit off. Not let him get over a length ahead, but maybe sit right there. So I don't know what's going to happen with Charlatan in that aspect. So I'm going to say Nashville is either first or second here.
All right, that's my next point that I was going to bring up, and this is a big one because this race reminds me a lot of Gamine and Serengeti Empress in the Filly and Mare Sprint, and I heard for weeks, it's a pace duel, it's going to melt down, there's going to be closers. And I kept saying, guys, it's not going to be a fucking pace duel. One horse is going to go out ahead, and that's Serengeti Empress, and Gamine is going to sit off. And then I heard, well, there's no way Gamine can win if you do that. Why? She's going to let one horse go out and run, and then she's going to pass that one horse when they hit a wall, and she's still going to be ahead of everybody else. That's what's going to happen in this race. If you think these 2 horses, Nashville and Charlatan, are going to knock heads for this whole way around the track,
Yep.
I think it is very, very unlikely that that's going to happen. And then it just comes down to the question of who's going to sit off the lead. Who is the candidate that could sit off? Because that's the one that's going to win. Charlatan has never been behind. Nashville has never been behind. Jared, I'm going to kick it to you first. Who is in front, Nashville or Charlatan, when they hit the quarter pole?
Boy. Oh gosh. I'm gonna say it's Nashville.
Wow, Nashville. Ricky.
I'm going to go the other way. I think Charlton's going to be the one on the front end. I think Nashville's going to be just have the ability to sit off. We don't know if it's going to work, but that's where I would lean. I would say Charlton's going to be the one on the lead.
And you already said you think Charlatan will be on the one on the lead, right, Magic?
No, I think Nashville is. I think Charlatan's going to sit off, yeah. And I just want to bring up a quick point. Our Stephanie, who joins for a lot of our live streams, Nashville 21:43. The quarter pole is still in the turn, so specifically because we're at Santa Anita, I'm going to say he's on the lead at the quarter pole.
Who's going to set the pace, Magic? Don't get technical.
Sorry, it's the Samich influence rubbing off on me there.
Listen, I just think you have a horse like Nashville that, like you say, is just superior in his speed. You know, and I think with Charlatan, they might be sensing that Nashville is the better horse and say, okay, well, we're not going to beat him by going nose to nose with him. So our chance of winning, kind of similar to what Val Baffert did with Nadal back in the Arkansas Derby when he set off. You know, so it's like sometimes you have to do that. These good horses, and so to me, you're just asking to get burned out, especially off of that kind of layoff with Charlatan. So I don't know, it makes it interesting. It's a fascinating race, not just because you have two really good horses in it, but because it's the pace setup, you know.
I think Nashville is going to be on the lead rather easily, to be honest. I think Nashville is going to be in front about 2 lengths or a length and a half to Charlatan. And my big worry, I have Nashville on top, and my big worry is, will he do a Serengeti Empress in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint and just go way too fast? And can Charlatan just kind of sit right there with Mike Smith aboard and, you know, give Charlatan that same ride as Gamine and come from home and just swing right by? I think that's going to be the big key. But I don't think Nashville will be pressured. I really don't, because I just don't think Ricardo Santana and Mike Smith are going to lock up here, especially when there's not anything else in the race. I think the big key with that race and with this race, there's not another horse that can go with those two, right? So if there was, then it really throws it into a monkey wrench because you got 3. But with 2 horses, you just very rarely see 2 speed horses hook up when they're the only 2 in the race. One's going to take the lead. One's going to sit off. That's my prediction.
To that point too, Aaron, the Chad Summers, who's trained Mind Your Biscuits, has been to Dubai multiple times. He's big in the international racing scene, especially with dirt sprinters. He was with Jorge Navarro a lot, chasing his coattails a lot when he had XY Jet, for example, or Chance a lot. So Chad knows what a really fast, and in those cases, very juiced up sprinter looks like. And he has said that Nashville is the fastest horse he's seen in the last 5 years easily. And that's including XY Jet. That's including Chance a lot, who was bullet fast early. That's saying a lot to me that he thinks Nashville's the fastest horse.
I mean, yeah, it does. And listen, you're right. Chad has been, if he doesn't have Mind Your Biscuits, he's been tailing XY Jet. He's been tailing Imperial Hint. Every time I see a sprint, it's like, well, there's Chad Summers. Well, he doesn't train that horse. It doesn't matter. He's found a way. He's found a way to get in there. Get on TV. I don't know why, but you're right. And yeah, he had a nice little argument with Candace Hare from TVG on this subject where it was just weird. It's like, Candace, I know what he knows what he's saying. You know what he's saying. Like, don't try to be like a little smarty. You know, he's saying the horse is really, really good, probably the fastest one. So anyway, let's see. We are now 11 minutes to post. I'll kick it to Ricky real quick. Look, we've got Collusion Illusion 5-1, 1,000 Words 14-1, Nashville 4-5, Charlatan 5-2, Express Train 25-1, Independence Hall 6-1. The last race, we kind of looked at the odds and said, "Wow, duopoly is way bigger than we thought." Who are you looking at here and saying the same thing about?
I would still say Independence Hall. It's not as big as what we kind of saw before with duopoly, where I thought it was a drastic difference. I still think Collusion Illusion's a tad short. So I guess in terms of the value play, in terms of the way we looked at it before, I would still say Independence Hall. I thought he would be a little bit shorter, so that's where I'm going here.
Jared, real quick, are you thinking the same thing? Is Independence Hall the kind of the value right now at 6-1?
Yeah, I was actually just sitting here looking at it, kind of looking at through his past performances. It's such a fun, interesting horse. Obviously, a horse that was drafted first overall by you last year in the fantasy league. That had Derby hopes, and like I say, has kind of rediscovered himself as a sprinter and looked pretty damn good doing it. So. Yeah, I mean, to me at 6-1, he's the guy that, if you're looking for a pace meltdown, he's got somewhat of a back class to do it, right? So, if you expect these horses just to fall, I think the issue is I think it's Magic or whoever said, the issue is how far ahead of these, Charlatan and Nashville get to where can he kind of keep up early on? It's going to have to be a major meltdown. So I think this race here is about to be a big time test for him as far as what is Independence Hall. Can he be that grade 1 type horse but sprinting, or is he just kind of mediocre all along? Because we obviously found out he was that going long. So up against two really fast horses, even a second to Nashville or something, I think would still show that he's pretty damn good and belongs in this company.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, and I think it is interesting because, here we are late in the 3-year-old season, and this horse has made a lot of starts, and we still really aren't sure at how talented is he? Can he be a grade 1 winner? So he looks beautiful on the track. We know that. All right, Magic, I asked those two guys. Same question for you. You look at the board right now. Are you surprised by anything, and where is the value at in your eyes?
Man, it's going to sound like a broken record here, but value, it's Independence Hall. Especially, here's what I don't get. I love Collusion Illusion. I know I said that the market would correct itself. He's still a shorter price than Independence Hall, and straight up, I would take Independence Hall over him here. If you're looking for a win bet, a Nashville, but you can't like the price too much, I would say even money 4-5 is what I expected for him, based off of a 6-5 morning line. I know that we have a lot of tremendous respect for the morning line odds maker at Santa Anita, and I think it's really difficult for him to put anybody below even money, but I bet with him putting Nashville 6-5, he probably wanted to, probably knew it would get shorter than that. If you're trying to make money here using a 4-5 on top or a Charlatan at 5-2, I'd single one of them and then put Independence Hall, 1,000 Words, Collusion Illusion, hope that one of the two speed horses falls apart, play the other one on top, and fill underneath with some closers to try and spice that up.
Very good segue to my next question for you three guys, and that is 1,000 Words being in this race. This was a huge shock to me. I kind of looked at it real quick, guys, and said, well, maybe he clunks up and gets third. Jared, were you surprised to see 1,000 Words in the race, and what do you think he'll do here?
It's kind of, yeah, I'm totally shocked. When you have Charlatan in here, why is Bob putting another one in here, especially one that certainly doesn't strike you as a 7 furlong type horse, right? So, last time we saw this horse running 8th in the Preakness just got blasted by, Swiss Skydiver and Authentic. I don't know. I really don't know. This horse hasn't gone less than, a mile 16 since like over a year ago. I don't know. So, yeah, I guess you kind of have to, at 14-1, I guess you kind of have to take note of that, but I don't know. Is it maybe just like a prep, just kind of get him a race before maybe the Pegasus?
That's kind of I don't know. I was really confused. That's kind of what I kind of took from it too. Maybe they're just trying to get him ready for something down the road. Ricky, 1,000 Words. When you handicapped this, what were your thoughts?
I want nothing to do with 1,000 Words. He's taken too much money and burned me too many times. I think the forward-looking angle is important, like you guys just talked about. I just don't know if he's good enough because, one of the things that, I was kind of back and forth on some of these Calbreds, or not Calbreds, the horses that have been running out here, I should say. And Independence Hall, I think, just got extremely unlucky that he drew this field, to be honest, because he had only shown speed. He was off in a long layoff after the Florida Derby, wasn't right or whatever, and then came back in a tough AOC and won relatively easy. So I think this is just an extremely tough field for Independence Hall. If you look at 1,000 Words, I just don't know how good he is. So I think there are two different angles. Obviously, the odds reflect that. I want nothing to do with 1,000 Words. I think he really wants to go longer, and this is probably right. Like you guys talked about, probably something that Baffert will say, let's get something back into him before 2021.
Michael Myers asked a question, and I'm going to throw it to you, Magic. Legit question. Why would you not put two horses in a race? First and third pays better than just first. Your thoughts on that, Magic?
Boy, I'd struggle with this. I'm glad you asked that because it's something I struggle with too sometimes. With a race like this, if Baffert had two speed horses, then I would be a little nervous about trying to figure out why the hell did he do that. In this race, he's got one horse that likes to burn early, and he's got Thousand Words, who has shown that he can be put on the front end if he's really asked to. But I think that with his running style, he's better sitting off the pace. He's a lot more of a grinder, and so I think that he is in a great position for Bob Baffert to try and hit the exacta here. I think that's what Bob was looking at with this specific field is I've got Nashville to face. We've all known that Nashville was coming for this race for a couple months now. So he probably saw that Nashville needed needed somebody to go with him, Charlatan, and if there's a speed duel, Thousand Words might be able to clean something up. I honestly expected Thousand Words to scratch from this. I was expecting him to scratch because it's only 6 horses. Baffert loves to enter a couple of them for a short field when he's afraid it's not going to fill. And so the fact that he's running surprises me here.
Yeah.
I would counter that too and just say, because I know you say you go back and forth on it. It's like, well, the issue is what if Thousand Words gets hurt trying something that he doesn't want to do, or whatever. Like you're running a horse that maybe is not meant to run in this kind of race, and the horse just can't keep up, gets injured, and then the horse is done for the year or whatever. So I get you go up and hit second, but do you really? You're still asking a lot of the horse for a horse that doesn't do this ever.
Yeah, I kind of just think it's like, hey, if this thing totally melts down, at least I've got a horse that's coming from off the pace. That was kind of the last thing I could think of. And maybe you give the instructions, hey, just take him back, and whatever he does, he does. Don't push him. Don't make him chase those horses. I don't know. That's my best guess. If it were me and I owned 2 horses, I wouldn't put them in a stakes unless one was a rabbit, for my closer. That's the only time I think I would try that. All right, guys, we're 3 minutes to post to the Malibu, one of the best races of the year. I would venture to say if you take all the races the entire year, this has got to be a top 10. This is a real showdown between the up-and-comer Nashville and the horse on the comeback trail, Charlatan. Hey, 2 minutes. I guess we'll do final thoughts. Let's do a roundtable real quick. Final thoughts, Jared. We'll start with you.
In Nashville, to me, what's cool about this race is that it's the first of kind of Nashville's career. Really, he's kind of hopefully kicking it off, and even Charlatan maybe trying to reboot a little bit. So we're gonna hopefully see these guys a lot next year as well. I'm just not. Charlatan, his claim to fame is juiced up Arkansas Derby beating Basin and Gouverneur Morris. I don't know. I still think Nashville he's got so much more upside here. So I'm gonna go Nashville.
Ricky?
Yeah, I think as the odds kind of start to get back to a little bit more even, I think you have a big question mark with Charlatan, the layoff, all those questions surrounding him. What did he face versus Nashville, who just seems to be a budding star that, like Jared talked about, could be one of the best sprinters in all of 2021 again and continue this campaign. So I'm all in on Nashville.
All right, Magic.
Yeah, I'm with Nashville. We'd heard that, actually Aaron and I saw for our own eyes when we watched the replay, Charlatan's last work here didn't look great, and it reminded me a lot of his first 2 career starts when he would get wacky in the stretch. This horse has more talent than mental capacity to handle it, and so for me, the big reason I'm against him is because off the layoff, I have no idea if he's mentally matured enough. This horse has got grade 1 talent. And even the Arkansas Derby, I feel like in that stretch run, he got a little, not as bad as he'd been before at Santa Anita, but he gets a little wacky. And so now you're trying to ask him to do a 7 furlong distance against a horse that he's never faced this kind of speed before. I think it's going to be crazy. And we're loading in the gate. Since 2010, we've had almost every single winner of this has gone on to be an extremely, extremely nice horse. So whoever wins this, watch out next year, baby.
I think it comes down to this, guys. Nashville's out in front. He hits the last furlong. That's when he's going to have to be classy. We're going to find out if he is an elite horse. And I have Nashville on top because I think he is. I don't think it's that complicated. I think if anybody's going to beat him, it's Tough Luck Bob with the 4 Charlatan.
Let's see.
In the gate, here we go, boys.
It's nice when there's 6 horses. They're in pretty quick.
All right, everybody's out, and everybody came away good.
And there they go. Charlton's going to be sitting off of Nashville, looks like. So.
Yep. Nashville's a little bit faster than Charlatan out of the gate here and up the backstretch. So
how fast are they going to run this first quarter is the question.
Yeah.
21?
I say 21-4.
But again, he's
20.
not 21.
Oh, nice. That was dead on. Nice. Okay.
100th.
Look out, and I mean they're pulled away from the rest of the pack here, and I don't know if Charlotte can keep up with this.
No.
Well, here's the deal, guys. It's what I said. Nashville is not pressured. This is not a speed duel. He's out running as fast as he normally runs, and we'll see if he can hold him off.
Jesus.
But he has no excuse. This is how he's going to run.
43. Oh, my gosh.
This is how he does it. And it looks like Charlatan's going to go right on by him with ease.
Express Train is flying from that 3-wide spot there. I don't know if he's going to be good enough, but...
Yeah, Nashville is completely done.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at him go. He's going to win by a length of this. I mean, he's going to win by 10. Nashville totally threw in the towel.
Yep.
Hey, Collusion Illusion's going to hit the board. I told you I thought he had a great shot to do that.
He is going to get maybe second.
Hey, he's got third.
Get third. So, yeah, guys, it really comes back to the fact when the one takeaway of this race, more than anything else, is when you see 2 horses and that's it, that are burners like that, it's never, ever, ever, ever going to materialize into a speed duel unless they are low-ass level claimers. You just don't know any better. These high-class horses, you're never going to get a speed duel when it's just 2 of them out there. It's set up exactly like I thought, and exactly like the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. I had the wrong horse.
Well, as soon as he took off like that, I was like, Jesus, this is exactly what Aaron said when you talked about in the Filly and Mare Sprint, where Baffert had a speed horse, and they never really sat off before and said, you're going to sit off, and it worked. I'm impressed. I'm impressed that worked like that.
But listen, I mean, it's not rocket science here. I mean, we said that, or at least I said, that Nashville would go to the lead and Charlatan would sit off. I thought that would happen. If you would have told me they're going to run a sub 44, I would have said, well, Charlatan's probably got a good shot to run him down, because you just, I mean, you're not going to be able to do that against these kind of horses and win, So, I mean, maybe he was a little off Nashville. I mean, he did run that kind of race at Keeneland, but shit, I mean, that he went a little bit longer today too.
Just to address this idiotic comment, Nashville couldn't have won a 3 furlong race today. So let's not say that the 7 furlongs got him beat. That's crazy. Ricky, your thoughts on the race?
I think Jared just talked upon, it's really important, and we've all talked about it. Horses at this level don't quit. So in the Perryville and the allowance, a lot of the horses, when he gets that length or 2 lead, they just quit. So I think that the lengths that he won by seems to be a lot bigger than they probably would have if the horse didn't quit. If horses, behind him don't quit. So right here you saw Charlatan be really, really professional, and I think that was really important to show that maybe he is back. Obviously, they were really, really quick, and they probably want better and bigger for Charlatan down the road. But this was extremely professional, and we'd never really seen this from him before. So maybe he is back.
I mean, I'm kind of mad at myself because I let it happen again. I felt for that Serengeti Empress to be alone on the lead, and when she is, they can't catch her, and it's just the Baffert horses. They did it again with Charlatan.
It's a little. And I'm not going to let you get too mad at yourself because this is a little different. I mean, Serengeti Empress is more established, and we knew exactly. Whereas Nashville, the sky's the limit. What this guy could do. So you didn't really know what he was going to do, and what we've seen, it looked like he was going to be able to run those kind of numbers, or even a little bit slower, and still win. And so, I don't hate it, especially Charlatan coming off the layoff. Honestly, it props off to Charlatan. I mean, can he keep himself together? Can he keep himself out of the drug violations? Not himself, but Tough Luck Bob. Can this horse kind of put something together in 2021? Because golly, like Magic said, the talent is there. Make no mistake about it. Look at that performance. what do you do with Nashville now? I mean, what do you make of that race? Like, that obviously was not what we've been seeing from him. Was that an immature horse that can't figure out how to rate? Is that a bad ride? Where do you go from there?
I mean, I don't really think it was a bad ride. I just think the horse came and was empty. I mean, what do you want him to do? Like, I don't know how you would have rode him any different. If you strangle him, you're like, well, you can't strangle him. I mean, he's a speed horse. You got to let him get out there in front. I have no idea to the answer to the question of what do you do with him. I don't know. That was just awful. A terrible performance. And it may have been a situation that once he got past, because he's never been past before, you may have said, uh-oh, I don't know what to do, and just quit. Certainly what it looked like, because it looked like Charlatan ripped his heart out right at the top of the stretch. I mean, if you heard me say, but it's race over at the top of the stretch. It's like I don't have to watch the rest of this. It's just a matter of how much he's going to win by.
There's that moment in every race, and this race in particular, where you look at it and you say, okay, this race is either he's going to pull away and it's going to be over, or he's about to get past. In this case, he got past. Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted to bring that on here. What are we doing with Charlatan? I mean, is this a prep to get him? I mean, obviously he's won at a mile and eighth. Like we talked about earlier with the Arkansas Derby, is he a horse that you think he's best sprinting like this, or are they going to go to the Pegasus?
Sprinting would be mine. Would be my answer. You look at that Arkansas Derby race; he looked awful. That was his worst race. So I would keep him sprinting if it were me. Ricky, what do you think?
Yeah, he gave me no indication that he's going to do better going longer. So, I don't know. I would keep him sprinting. I don't really know, because it looks like he really could go longer. I didn't know if this was more of a litmus test or what they plan to do with him moving forward. Now I want to throw it to you guys. Did this seem like something that this was kind of just get a race into him, or did this seem something like they want to progress to the Pegasus? That's a relatively quick turnaround. That's 4 weeks. And obviously he'll be facing much better than we saw today. So I don't know if they even expected that out of him today.
Yeah, I think it was just, hey, it's a grade one. He's doing well. Let's throw him in there. And if he can beat Nashville, we're going to get grade one, another grade one with him. So I kind of heard that maybe, maybe they take him to the Pegasus next. That's kind of been the thought. Magic, let's kick it to you because you're kind of the West Coast guy. What have you heard, and what do you think after this performance?
Haven't heard anything other than I'm mad at myself for talking because he was working out so well before that last fucking workout. I think they go to the Pegasus with him. They're going to look at the fact that it wasn't his best race, but a mile and an eighth, the Arkansas Derby. Who's he going to face from a pace pressure standpoint that can go with him going longer? How are we going to see another case with the flipping Breeders' Cup Classic or the Kentucky Derby, where you got one horse that goes to the front and everyone wants to sit off and get cute, and because nobody pushes him going a route of ground, he's going to end up being able to hold on. Gulfstream's dirt can play well to speed. We know the turf does that a lot at Gulfstream, but the dirt can play pretty well to speed. And I don't know that right now anybody who really scares me in the Pegasus, that if he was to face them there. So, I don't see why not. Who does Baffert have that could go? Because he's not going to send Mucho Gusto. 1,000 words maybe. I don't know. I mean, Baffert wants to go. It's a $3 million race.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's maybe the best point of all. If not Charlatan, who? Nobody, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tiz the Law. Does Tiz the Law scare Bob? Hell no. Bob's beaten Tiz the Law twice now.
Yeah. Yeah, with Authentic, who Charlatan may be better than Authentic. So.
He was supposed to be better than Authentic before he got hurt. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go Pegasus with him after this race and see. Yeah. Let him show, because he also, by the way, he showed I talked about the mental capacity. He ducked in a little bit in the stretch once he got past, but then he was fine. And Mike just did one peek back and just let him coast at that point. So I think that he's matured. I hate that, but I think he's matured.
I mean, I just kind of was watching the replay there a little bit, and I mean, that's like, yeah, Nashville he quit definitely after he got passed, but I don't want to take anything. I mean, that performance there was unbelievable by Charlatan. That was really good. Really fast, really good. So yeah, I mean I bet that's going to come back with a huge number, considering how fast they went early. So yeah, I think I don't want to take anything away from Charlatan, like he just took advantage of that how fast Nashville was going. I mean that was really impressive.
I'm blown away by how the length. I don't how long, how much it was, like 8 links maybe. I mean he was just
yeah.
And he just never was. He just rode him, like he just kind of breezed by Nashville and just kind of kept on going, So
yeah.
I'm with you guys. I asked the question. I'm with you. I think of course, maybe if he's matured and everything's different, I don't know. I mean, maybe he can get the distance, but I did the Arkansas Derby. I thought was awful. I mean, I thought you could almost see the point when Bob Baffert's juice kicked in the race and knew that horse was not going to quit. That's what you could see. And I didn't see. I mean, obviously today this to me he belongs in this kind of level, this kind of sprinting, I should say. That was awesome.
Yep, monster effort. One horse that really no-showed. We'll kind of touch on one more here, and then we can move on to the last race. One horse that really no-showed, I thought today, Independence Hall. Where the hell was he in this race? He was nowhere to be found, and you would think he is a big-time candidate to clunk up here for second and third. He's nowhere to be found in the race.
I'm watching the replay here, and he was third up until close. Well, not quite the quarter pole. And I think he just chased him. He was chasing, even though he was back, he was chasing them going way too fast, and he went backwards the whole.
I mean, he didn't even pass Nashville, did he?
No, Nashville got fourth.
I don't think so.
That's what you call walking home. That was a absolutely horrific race by Independence Hall.
Nashville was literally going backwards when they hit the wire. So
yeah, the only horse that was more horrific was Thousand Words. So
yeah,
nobody could understand why he's in the race, and he ran like he didn't understand why he was in the race. So,
he needed the Christmas week off apparently.
Before we move on, can we just do one last shout out to the morning line odds maker, because we freaked out with halfway through before the race went to post. We're like, how are these odds so crazy? Look what John set versus what they were. Collusion Illusion was pretty close. Nashville spot on 6-5. Charlatan almost spot on. Independence Hall spot on. The Express Train almost spot on. So at least John White got this right. None of us did, but John White did.
So 6-5 and 8-5, and he set him 6-5 and 9-5. That's why he is the number one morning line odds maker in this country. I mean, that is fantastic.
and I guarantee you, we will get a text from him later on today about that, not about the race, but about how dead on he was on his morning line, because he takes that shit seriously. He looks back at it, see how he does. I guarantee you, there's not another morning lines maker in America, maybe even the world, that takes his job so seriously when it comes to making the morning line, but not just making it, but finding out how right he was. That's all he ever talks about when we were with him. So, John. All right, I'll let you guys. Are any of you guys alive in this?
Oh God.
Oh God, no.
Well,
what the hell happened? Is Samich alive?
No,
he didn't like Charlatan.
So yeah, that's a typical Samich where he gets the bomb and then he doesn't have Charlatan, but that's how he plays.
Let me say this: Samich has one weakness, and it's that race right there, that type of race. He did the same thing in the Breeders' Cup with that filly mare sprint. He thinks those pace stools are going to develop like they do in a claiming race, and they just don't in those stakes races. It just doesn't happen. And, I think he thought what a lot of people thought, if there is a pace duel, Charlatan can't hang with Nashville, and Nashville will go on with it, and then I'm going to play some horses underneath. But they just don't materialize like that, unfortunately. I guess to finish it off, congratulations to Magic. You now own a grade one. What did you finish? Well, I finished third. So he's
grade one placed. They call that grade one placed.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was really hoping to join Millie though. Millie is still the only grade one winning owner in the whole Racing Dudes team, and so I'm coming up on Millie. But I was really hoping that she and I could celebrate today.
You hear that, Millie? Yep. Congrats.
she's overjoyed over there.
Yeah, she does. She's still. I mean, she's still. For Christmas, I got her a plaque with Authentic on it, so she was pretty happy about that, and I photoshopped her in the background, so it looked like she was on top of Authentic in the winner circle, so it was really, really cool. So she really liked that. But yeah. So the only grade 1 winner amongst us is my dog. So congratulations to her. So what about this last race? Halterman, I know you have Warren Showtime on top. What are you this race, what is 5-2 right now? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's the get out race, and that's the best news of all. Warren Showtime is 4-1 right now. And then the Chad Brown Shipper counterparty risk is 3-1. Listen, Magic said it. I think the last time we had a day like this, it was back in Saratoga. It was the Whitney, because that was the day that all that crazy shit happened. Tom Zatala went to his nose right out of the gate. And he just sent me a text. He said, look, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. I think we're the nail today, boys. It's been rough. Get out race, though. You got one race to try to make it up.
There's something to add, though. If there's a race going on, there's always a wager available.
That's right.
Here's your chance for double or nothing. Since you lost the first leg, I will let you propose your offer. We have 18 minutes, so there's plenty of time to make this a roundtable discussion.
He's going to have 2 minutes, actually.
I got it right now. Double or nothing. I say within the next minute, Saratoga Slim joins the feed.
Well, I don't know. No, that's ridiculous, because he might have sent you a text. That's ridiculous.
Or he might already be here.
I'm here.
Oh,
oops.
What up, buddy?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ricky.
I couldn't see.
Is
Yeah,
Ricky
that was
dropping you guys
ridiculous.
nuts already?
All right, Slimmy, you're here.
All right, man. I'm alive to the 8 and 9 this pick 4 here. Warren Showtime is going to pay 700 and something, and that Chad Brown horse is going to pay about 1,000. So let me get this bad boy home. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I don't know why. I didn't want to be alive to this race. I thought it was garbage. But I said, well, I like Warren Showtime, and Chad Brown sent the horse to the West Coast, so I'm in.
I mean, I like it. I like that you played Charlatan. I thought that was your smart play right there. So the 8 and the 9, Warren Showtime and counterparty risk. Boy, that's him being alive, man. That's good handicapping. He combined Samich's ticket and his own ticket. It kind of sounds like there, because Samich loved Fair Maiden. And so this is exciting for Slim. We'll have something.
Yeah, I like Fair Maiden, and I saw Samich like that horse, and I said, all right, I got to do that. And I thought Duopoly would wire. That was like my main play. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully, this is a wide open race, though, so I'm a little worried.
Yeah, no question. Looks like you got your buddy there with you too, there, Slim. So that's
yes.
Cool. Yeah, there he is.
Congratulations to Oliver for being the youngest guest ever on this show. So.
Yeah, boy, beat Ricky by that much, didn't he?
Only by a couple months.
Oh man!
All right,
I do want to throw in there that it's nice to have someone on the East Coast hopping in, giving Chad Brown more love, because he always deserves it on the turf. So thank you, Slim, for being alive to a Chad Brown vote.
But Chad Brown, got to get it done, baby. I don't have the bobblehead right now, but I got to get it done. So, all right.
You got a human bobblehead.
Thanks for coming on, Slimmy.
Oh man,
that was great.
Yeah. So listen, I have to make a bet with you. Is that the deal?
Or you could just lose $10. You don't have.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to either break even or lose 20. Well, who do you like in this race? Like, who's your top choice?
Why are you guys betting?
So
listen, we got to make money somehow, Jared. We can't make it.
The first race we did it. We went back to the 9th race. Real quick to recap, it was the American Oaks. I took going to Vegas to finish ahead of Neige Blanche. I don't know if I said that right. Going to Vegas actually almost won the race. Beat Sharing, literally almost won, only by a couple lengths. So I said, as a true Oklahoma Sooner, he won't go down without a fight. So I'm going to give him double or nothing. I should have taken the 49ers, but I didn't. So how about this? I'm going to put a stipulation on this. Neither of us can take Duopoly or Sharon. None of us can take counterparty risk or Warren Showtime, but I'll let you pick the horse. I'll let you take first crack neither of us can take the top two choices.
Okay.
I want to throw a little something into it. So we're not rooting against Slim either. That was the whole point of this.
That's fair.
I don't even know why I'm giving you first crack, but I'm going to. First crack.
Oh boy. I really like On Mars. Yeah, I'm gonna take On Mars. I think Nasty maybe a little bit overrated, so I'm gonna put On Mars.
Yeah, and I'll take Nasty. I knew you were gonna go one way or the other. That's why I wanted to kind of do this. So I'll take Nasty. You take On Mars. Magic. What do you? You're the true West Coast guy. Which way or would you be leaning?
Magic left for just a second. He will be back. So
Jared, you have.
Who you guys picking? Give me your horses again. I wasn't paying attention.
The 4 or the 7? Who do you like best out of those two in this race? The 4 or the 7?
I like the. I think I like the 4 better.
Perfect. That's the way I like it. I want to be 2 against 1. No, and I think if we are going to take seriously those 2 out. I think these are the next 2 logical choices. I don't think we would go against Counterparty Risk or Warren Showtime. I'm a little surprised to see Counterparty Risk take so much money, to be honest. He broke the maiden at Aqueduct. It doesn't have the toughest field of all time. This is a pretty tough race. We know Chad Brown ships with intention, but at the same time, 3-1 against a horse with a lot of class. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think that is all about Chad Brown money and not really looking at the form. It just seems like that horse. I use the horse, so full disclosure, but just because how can you not use Chad out here? But it's just there isn't a ton there. Gonna have to take it a little bit of a step up to beat a horse like Warren Showtime, no doubt about it. Jared, I don't even know if we've gotten your thoughts on the 11th race here, the Lady Shamrock. What are your initial thoughts on the race?
I've got to sit here and really be hopeful for Slim. I really like that 8 and the 9. I think the fact that Chad brought this horse out, Rosario, sticking around to ride, I think that's a good sign. Obviously this is a big time step up. And then I like the fact that you get Warren Showtime, who obviously loves it out there, and is pretty damn good at this distance. So to me, I'm fine with playing just those 2. I really think those 2 are the I wouldn't say the class, but at least maybe have the best possibility. You look at Counterparty Risk. This is a horse that, was really impressive, not so much on debut, but second start out. Clairvich Stables, Chad Brown. Irad's been beating them out, but you get Rosario here and has a ton of late kicks. So if he's not good enough, I think Warren Showtime might be. So I'm playing those 2. I think Slim's got a good shot at catching this thing.
Yeah, I do as well. Magic, what are your thoughts on the Lady Shamrock Stakes?
I saw this as a 3-horse race. I thought it was pretty much down to 7, 8, 9. When we covered it, I thought that 8 was probably overall the best horse in the race. Definitely the best of the shippers. The fact that Chad Brown nominated her to the American Oaks and decided to send her here for $75,000 stakes rather than stay in Florida and not pay the shipping costs and run in that $75,000 stakes they had, I think that's a big sign. With 7, Nasty, I think this is a potential lone speed. And you've got a speed jockey, Ricky Gonzalez, who just got his first career Grade 1 win today in the Brea Stakes, so he's really feeling himself. And this is a horse that was the 8-5 favorite last time out at Del Mar against a pretty good group of optional claimers, older horses. And she was pretty rank early, and Irad decided that he thought that this speed horse should be best served by trying to rally from last, so he strangled her to death. So if you scratch that off, I think that she fits really well here, at least from a pace perspective. Somebody asked about the 10, but Aaron, I know you're a time form guy. Nasty's time form, early pace figure is 103, and that doesn't guarantee she's going to be on the lead, but you compare that to the 10, who's got an 84, and I'd say there's a considerable chance that the 7 ends up being your leader. And then with the 9 Warren Showtime, your horse, this is the best California horse. She's 4 for 5 over this course. She's 5 for 8 going to Turf Mile. So it's chalky, but I said when you asked her, you want to wheel this back into pick 3, I said no, because I think it's going to be chalky. So it's chalky, but that's how I see this race.
Yeah, I'm with you on Nasty. I think that horse does get out in front here, no doubt. I do kind of think the 10 might pressure a little bit from the outside, but Nasty does definitely seem to have the best turn of foot. early in the race, so no question about it. I'm kind of with you guys. I just think the 8 and 9, they seem like standouts because you got Warren Showtime, who just seems like the best horse in the race, period. And then you've got the Chad Brown horse, and that's it. I really think that might be the only two you need. Ricky, just overall thoughts. I know you're going to be rooting for Nasty, but is that the horse that you think? I mean, would you play this horse to win? Is basically what I'm trying to ask.
I don't know if I would to win because I think there's enough value on the 8 or 9, depending on which way you want it to go. But when we look at Nasty, this is going to be the horse that's going to be on the lead. I don't think, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. An Angel, I just don't know if she's good enough. So she might want to get to the lead. I just don't think she's quick enough to do it. And I don't know who else is really going to press Nasty. So, look, I've been a Ricky Gonzalez fan for a while now, and I don't know if he's really going to be pressed. I think this is going to be relatively slow. So when I kind of gave you the choice, obviously, forget about our wager. We're rooting for Slim with the 8 or the 9, and we think those are the two logical choices. But if I looked at On Mars, I said she's going to run similarly, most likely to Counterparty Risk and Warren Showtime, more like Warren Showtime. I don't know if she's good enough to do that. So that's why I went with Nasty, because I said at least Nasty will be on the lead in terms of our wager. I think this is really 3 tiers, 8 with 9, then you have 4 and 7 in the next tier, and kind of the rest. In my opinion, that's how I kind of saw this. So I'm kind of along the same lines as you guys.
So you guys both are talking about Curtis and Ricky both talking about Nasty being on the lead. I've said Nasty's going to be on the lead. Nick Seaver says, I'll bet Magic whatever he wants that Nasty is not in the top 3 at the 1.5 mile marks. Magic.
I'm texting Nick. Don't worry. He's already backed out of it. So.
All right.
Yeah. There. He said I just looked at the last race. I'm going to lose that bet. So Nick, I'm not going to take you up on it. So don't worry about it.
Well, guys, it's been a very depressing show. I can't have shit at Santa Anita, and the Cardinals are down 20-12 with 1 minute to go. San Francisco just missed a field goal, so the Cardinals are kind of still alive, but this has been a really bad 2.5 hour stretch. So Jared, let's kick it to you since you haven't been here for the entire shit show. Would you? Let's see. What do I want to ask you, Jared? 6 minutes to post.
Well, I have you guys. When is the draft? Just kidding. No. How about the fact I was kind of thinking about Bob Baffert this year. I mean, you think about early on in the year when he had Authentic, Nadal, and Charlatan, and you're like, we had that, who's the best 3-year-old? And I mean, Nadal obviously kind of he did win the Arkansas Derby, one of them. Charlatan obviously did too. But then just thinking about these, like, not a bad 3-year-old year for these horses. Good Lord. And then you had Gamine in there. I mean, shit. It's like Bob Baffert's just training just excellently right now.
Yeah, I feel terrible for him. I wish he'd have some luck one of these days and win a couple of races. Yeah, it's and he has Life is Good, and Life is Good beat the winner of the second race at Santa Anita today, who won by like 2 or 3 lengths, and Life is Good beat that horse by 10. So it seems like he's got a pretty good 2-year-old getting ready to turn 3 here in 4 days. So it's very frustrating, and there really is no justice in horse racing when it comes to these guys. Poor Jorge and Service, they got the door slammed on them, but it doesn't seem to be affecting all the other trainers that are known for this. So it's kind of it is what it is, right? You're a good turf trainer when no one's really comparing you to the rest of the trainers in this country. They're comparing you to Aidan O'Brien. So that's a really, really good thought in one's mind that you're kind of the front runner here. Are you the best in the world? So I think Chad Brown would love to end this Saturday with a win. I want to throw it to you guys. Did you kind of, real quick, as we're under 5 minutes here, are there any value horses that might be double digits, or let's say 8-1 or higher, that you'd want to throw maybe across the board bet on, or
a small win bet or anything like that?
The 3 for me. I think 16 to 1's too high on the 3. I've got the 3 underneath in exactas, or in a trifectas, I should say. So I think the 3 at 16 to 1 offers pretty solid value.
I'll go with the 10 horse, the one we were talking about before, and Angel floating all the way up to 15 to 1. This is something Mike Samish talked about when he was hyping her up. Not only is the second start of her form cycle and with the trainer, but Richie Baltus is the part owner, and Mike's probably a good point. When you're the part owner, you're paying fees, like you're not getting that income from the owner as a trainer. So if he's paying himself for part of her fees here, he's not going to put her in a spot where she's not going to be able to cash checks. So I didn't use her here, but if you're looking for a horse with value, I mean, 8 to 1 to 15 to 1 does not seem like the right price. It seems too much of a price on Ann Angel here.
Yeah, I'm with Magic. That horse keeps that price going up. That horse really seems interesting to me. Like I say, second start in the United States here. I definitely think this horse at that price is worth a play. Yeah, that's who I would go with.
Rickster?
No, yeah. So I'm kind of with the 10 also, just because of the pace angle. I don't know if she's really good enough, but at least we know she's going to be in contention. That's really it. This to me looks like a pretty strong race where there doesn't look to be a long shot outside of the top 2 tiers. But I would go along with the 10 also, just because I think she'll be involved early on. I don't see any of these closers that are going to be long prices coming in, because they're not. They'll have a step behind the 4 and the 8 and 9. So I'm with the 10 too.
All right, guys, just 2 minutes until the 11th race, and we can end this disaster of a show.
Before we go, and I'm going to do it on the Magic Mike Show too, but I want to publicly thank Aaron and Jared for their help in what ended up being my favorite Christmas gift, and I got some good shit. My Mrs. Magic got me a really nice poker table, so when we're all allowed to get together, come out for the Breeders' Cup this coming fall at Del Mar. I've got the poker table, and I've got this beautiful set of custom playing cards with Tiz the Magician and the 2 podcast logos on there. And it's Aaron and Jared's thanks that Mrs. Magic was able to get those photos to make the cards for me. So thank you, gentlemen.
You know, anything for Mrs. Magic.
That's right. She, after the joke I almost made about her on the draft. We used to be friends. I don't know if she likes me anymore. So.
My favorite part is that there was a 15-second delay because she was watching the YouTube feed, and so we'd already moved on, and I hear her very clearly, I heard that, and it took me like 6 minutes, and it suddenly clicked, and I went, oh, that's what she was talking about.
Let's just say, is she watching it right now?
No, she's playing video games, actually.
We actually made Halter and I discussed it, and we got to trade pictures with her for the Tiz Magician photo. So, yeah. That was part of the deal, and I mean, she was I applaud her. She really loves you, Magic.
She said 1, and we said not good enough. Not good enough.
See, now I know you're lying, because one of those is definitely good enough. Trust me.
I like Mrs. Magic. I'd probably agree. 1 would probably be enough.
Okay. Too bad she's not watching. This would be great. All right, they're on the turf course. It's probably time we get this race over with.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We've had consistently 20-25 people watching throughout this. So if you've been with us the whole 2.5 hours, I'm sorry. Unless you played against us, then congratulations.
If you played my second choices through all these races, you're in really good shape. So I will not sleep well tonight over the Charlatan in Duopolis, because at one point I had them both on top while putting this stuff together, and just that's how it happens, though. That's how it happens sometimes. So
it's okay.
Yeah, you just can't beat yourself up over it.
Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail.
That's right. I haven't been the nail in a while, boys. So
sorry, Nick. Nick, I was rooting for Nick because he was in the opening day betting contest at Santa Anita. He did the Samich way. He did like an $18 feeder into like a $50 feeder into this one. So didn't get the job done, but I was proud that he made it today.
I really can't believe the Cardinals lost 20-10 or 20-12 today. I can't.
You know, things don't last forever. So when I have to hear about Lamar this, Lamar that, I will. You were on the right side about Mark Andrews. You did root for him every week, so I appreciate that. But there are some people that are on this live stream that are a little quiet because Lamar's been playing really well. I don't know who it is. I assume he's not in the fantasy championship, but Lamar's looked real good in December, and he might be trending upward. So,
can I jump in real quick? His analysis of quarterbacks in the NFL, he's been real quiet for like a month for another reason too. Average Baker Mayfield, who's carrying the Browns right now as well. He's
right.
Well, Baker is average, and Lamar has been. I mean, he had 80 yards in that game going into the fourth quarter. I mean, he won with his legs. I mean, give me a break.
Well,
yeah, I'm not on the Lamar bandwagon either. All right, they're off.
Thank you. Good timing on the break there.
Oh, well, they're.
And by the way, Ricky, I've been talking about it because I've been done with my fantasy playoffs.
I'm sure a couple of these sources will finish that aren't on my tickets, so we'll see what happens here.
God. Boy, Ann Angel would have been on the. Nick would have won that bet if the jockey let Ann Angel go. She was pretty key.
Yeah, so Nasty is ahead, like we thought. But
look at that lead.
Look at the 10. The 10 wants to go.
Very quick. Very quick.
20. Wow.
Woo! Nasty's flying. Come on. Fall apart, Nasty. Come on, Mars. Get up there one time.
letting her. Oh, shit.
Yeah, this is what he should. I expected him to do this in the autumn miss because I played her too. This is what she's capable of doing.
Catch me if you can, she says.
First time she's led like that too. Wow.
They might catch her though.
Well, she went 24 and 1 in that second, so that's why everybody kind of got on her.
Oh man, Ricky on Mars is moving.
Oh my, she is.
But
is that Mike Smith? Did somebody tell us Mike Smith was sneaky today?
Ricky, get up, or you.
Come on, Nasty. Hold on, girl. Come on.
Get up, 4. Get up, 3.
Come on, Nasty.
God.
Come on, Nasty. Ah, she's gonna do it.
No, here comes the A. Here comes the A.
He did it.
Nasty.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
That was a hell of a performance by her.
Right now.
And that's a brutal beat for Slimmy.
That's right.
Oh, shit. I shouldn't celebrate. Sorry, Slim. I forgot about him.
$10 more, but Slim just lost part of his soul.
Because that horse was moving.
Wow.
Oh.
What this finish? 7, 8, 9, correct?
Yep.
7,
with the 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, on a serious note, we did talk about these 4 horses being in separate tiers. Now, it was a lot closer than we thought, but none of us thought there was a price that was really going to shock. And you had tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 3 was fit through the rest. So, as a whole, we all called it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we talked about every one of those horses. Man, this got close. She got it. She was pretty clear, really, for a finish.
Buy Gonzalez stock now. Said it earlier in the day. You might want to hop on board. That was a really gutsy performance by Nasty. I would argue one of the best of the day, going gate to wire after 22-4.
Oh man, that's close. Yeah, no, you're right.
It looked like for half a second you're like, well, they've caught up to her, and this is going to be, she's just going to get swallowed up, and then she re-rallied, and she was game.
If you had live odds on her winning at the top of the stretch when they all came to her like that, I mean, what would you have had to take, like 10-1 for her to make it? And she just re-broke. Your gutsy performance is exactly how to describe it, Ricky. I totally agree. That was fantastic. And sure, she's low speed, but we kind of were figuring a little bit slower fractions around there while setting it, out there by herself. So, yeah. Great call. Magic. Way to celebrate Slim losing money. That's nice.
Slim and I have not had a good week in our friendship, have we?
No. I think Slim really hates you after the draft. So, yeah.
Listen, that worked out because my whole goal was to throw him off his game, and he was so thrown off. And for pick 50, he had to ask you who to take. So.
That's true. Yeah, and he didn't listen when I told him. So.
Man, look at those splits, too. Those are she was still fast at the end. She slowed it down in the middle, and she flew home.
Well, that
You know what? You know what it's time for, right? It's time to start drinking.
Yeah.
The bigger question is, and I will take recommendations, how do I spend my $20? That's the bigger question. Now, there are a lot of ways.
Tinder Gold, my friend. Put it towards Tinder Gold. I'm telling you. You won't be disappointed.
That's not going to happen. But what I will say, you'll have your chance again. There's always next weekend, or there's always tomorrow.
I was gonna say, hey, we do a show together at the moment, so
It's true. There are 12-5 claimers on Wednesday afternoon that we might be getting involved in. So
yep.
Tune in. Basically, that will probably be the next time. We might not go double or nothing because I don't want to put you in too much of a debt. That's Dairy Queen money that I'm taking, but we could start brand new. We could start on Wednesday.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You just enjoy your victories today. I don't know what happened to me. I was off today. Yeah. Hey, we should mention before because I'm definitely ready to get off of here. But should mention the Rocket Hour. It debuted last week on Wednesday. And I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good. If you followed my wagers, you made a little bit of money. That's good. The Rocket, I think you missed the first leg, but you did all right after that for the pick four. And so, yeah, that's something we're going to be doing. We'll be back on Wednesday. I'm guessing Gulfstream late pick four probably on Wednesday, Rocket.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll head to Aqueduct Friday.
Okay. Yeah, Jerome on Friday. Very first Kentucky Derby prep of the year, and we'll look at that. Probably late pick four there too. I'm sure that's where the Jerome will be placed. So, yeah, lots to look forward to. If you like the Rocket Hour, we'll be back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Magic Mike show Monday, right?
Not sure. We're playing it by ear with Mike's work schedule and with his family commitments right now. So possibly, I would plan on us being there Monday. And if Mike's not able to make it, maybe I'll draft one of you fuckers in.
Okay.
I used my one.
Jared, what are your plans for the next week?
I'm currently trying to just get a lot of fluids in me at the moment. Just trying to recover. But I'll be back. Honestly, he's been really busy with the holiday stuff and you've been cruising around and Colin's new ride, and so. But I'll be back, so I'm looking forward to being back on the show next week. And obviously, I need to take a look at my fantasy team, see who I got. Sounds like we already did the draft, so I'll take a look and see who I got, and we'll go from there.
Definitely no Phillies on your team. Definitely no Phillies.
Good. I didn't want any. Perfect.
Maybe one.
Good.
Maybe one.
And it still is not the worst pick in the draft. So
no, it was not. I wasn't in the top 10 of worst picks in the draft. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah, everyone stay tuned for that. Obviously, if you haven't seen that, go check it out at theracingdudes.com. The podcast there, the top 53-year-olds, well, soon to be 3-year-olds. If you need to know a list of horses, and frankly, what makes the list so amazing is all of us. You look at some of these horses, like, who the hell is that? You get a really vast variety of horses that make up the top 50. So go check that out, racingdudes.com. Of course, Halterman next week, I think, right? You kind of have that kind of rundown as far as who everyone picked and who's on whose team.
Yep, check out Monday. We'll have that up on the site as far as and also my power rankings, first power rankings of the year, and morning line odds for the future bets. So you can bet on the 10. I'm kidding. You can't actually do it, but I do put the morning line odds on. Tuesday, we'll have free pick fours. We had a $584 score at Mahoning Valley last week, so let's hope to do that again. Wednesday will be divisional rankings, the final ones of 2020. Thursday, the Jerome and the Sham previews will be out.
Where will Nashville
rank? You, or can you remember that? He's not even listening. Okay.
Hey, where will Nashville rank?
Nashville will not be ranked in any way.
All right.
Be in my doghouse, number 1.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will, check us out next week. We'll be all over the place. So, thanks, guys.